Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, everybody. However, you happen to be watching or listening to this, I want to welcome you to the Gaming Circle podcast. The podcast where this week, I think we're going to talk about our feelings, what we want in this world, and of course, we're going to talk about games and all this other stuff. But yes, I am your
This a
host, Mr.
therapy
K.
session
Asante.
this week? Is that
Yeah.
what
Oh,
we're
it's
doing?
going to be more than a therapy session, my friend.
Okay.
I'm your host, Mr. K. Asante. You can find me everywhere you want to talk about games. You know where I am. And of course, this week we are joined by an amazing, amazing guest. And we have some interesting conversations to talk about, even though the news gods aren't being as kind as they tend to be. But let's get into it. Let us first and foremost introduce our guest, who, let's be frank, the man is not our guest. This man, his fingerprints are all over this show in the best ways possible. The wonderful intro animation you just enjoyed was produced by him. The wonderful outro that you will see later was also produced by him. This is a man that's in these streets, lending his expertise and his help to all these various content creators, using the midweek mix-up collective that he has, pushed and really gotten to be really big. Shout out to what's his name, Pong Soul and Steel Rain out there doing their thing right now on Living Split Screen. But you know him, the man, the only man, short of the wizard that is the wizard, and you know who I'm talking about, who outshines the beard. It's the man, the myth, the beard, Mr. Wandering Dutch. What's going on, good sir? How you doing today?
What is going on? Yes, I'm doing good. I know one half of the gaming circle aren't doing that well today, but we'll pull them through.
Yeah, we'll get to the sad dad right now. We'll get to that, man. But I want to see how you're feeling. It's great to have you back. We still exalt your name around these here parts because you make this show better every time you're around here. So I appreciate you jumping in, good sir.
Anytime.
Oh, and I see a bunch of folks already in the chat also here. So thank you guys so much for joining. I see Beast Mode 10 in here. I see J Mo Money, Mr. Fuzzy Belvedere, is that Scythe Marks? Yeah, I've seen you in here before. Welcome, sir. Welcome. I appreciate all the folks, new and old, that choose to pull up. But of course, let us also introduce my co-host, the man who usually is out here being slanderous and keeping us on our toes. But this week he might have lost a step a bit. He's not feeling so hot because, dadness comes with cooties, man. The scourge of all dads. Mr. Everborn Saga, how you feeling this morning? You're not so good, huh?
Yeah, these goddamn kids and these goddamn germs.
You're saying this on digital air, right? It's going to be used against you in the court of law later.
That's fine. I got cooties, folks, from children. So
yeah, the
a little bit under the weather,
baby.
but I heard I was gonna call out sick today, but then there are two Sega topics. So in your face, J Mo Money. I came here. Okay. Rain, sleet, hail, or snow. Talk about Sega and Sonic. So
indeed, brother.
That's what I'm here for.
All right. Well, we're gonna get into it, and this week, you may have noticed that the title of the show is Burnout, and I think that it's a conversation that's really worth having because in addition to Mr. Everborn Saga, I've spoken to a few other content creators and non-content creators, just general gamers alike. And there's a sentiment that's kind of growing in like these days that I feel, since the news gods aren't demanding our attention, now's the time to have these introspective conversations. But before we get there, let us start with some of the games we have been playing. I will let you go second, Mr. Wandering Dutch, because believe it or not, you probably have more game content than the both of us. But I'll start.
Let me go first because this will be easy.
Okay, go ahead.
Nothing. I have not really gamed in the last 2 weeks.
Hence the title of the show, Burnout.
Yeah, but I blame Elden Ring. I don't want to start a new game.
We'll get into it.
Okay. Yeah.
No, you are absolutely right. We will definitely get into it. But yes. That's why I didn't choose you first, because I know what yours is going to be.
Okay.
But yes, real quick. Oh, and I see Mr. Pixelbit G's in the chat, so he'll appreciate this. I have been playing Vampires Survivors. As you can see, there's not going to be too much of this footage because let's be real, it's not the best looking footage, right? But I got to tell you, this game is so worth playing. It has so much depth that it's just amazing. Absolutely amazing. It is absolutely something that's worth your time on Game Pass. didn't even think about it. Oh yeah, I hear it came out. It's on game preview, so they did it right. I'm looking at you there, Smilegate, with your ridiculous offerings. But yes, they did it right. It's in game preview, so it will grow. It will grow as the community plays it and gives it feedback and this and that. It seems like such a simplistic game for my audio listeners. It's basically, it reminds me of a Sega CD game, if you will, a game of its ilk, right? Yeah, you can purchase it for $5. It's a PC game only, but guess how much it comes in at? A stout 240 megabytes. So that tells you what they're working with. You know what I'm saying? That's the whole game. But trust me when I tell you, it starts off like this weird little, you're walking around, you have your Simon Belmont knockoff, if you will, but there are other classes as well. And little by little, this game starts opening up and giving you things and being so amazing with what it's doling out as far as systems are concerned. I will even say, I know that these days it's very like, anytime anybody says it, I give them the side eye. But I smell a little bit of FromSoft influences in this thing as well. Like they're taking some of those.
Oh my God! Is this the new thing we're gonna do where everything is a FromSoft game?
Like
everything.
Let's be clear. When Elden Ring first released, I was like, this is the wrong lesson to learn. Every Elden Ring blew up the world, so now everything's gonna be Elden Ring. Because let's be honest here, the story is still obtuse, the UI is still trash. Like there's still a lot of bad things in that game, even though the good things outshine it. But it seems like the lesson here is everything is Elden Ring now. But hey, we'll get there.
But is everything Elden Ring, or do you see?
No, everything is Elden Ring like. Everything wants to be Elden Ring. Doesn't necessarily mean that it is.
Because I don't know, because like you said, Tunic was Elden Ring, and now this is Elden Ring.
Well, but am I wrong? Have you played
another
Tunic?
thing? 12 hours. I'm 12 hours into Tunic.
So do you see the similarities? It's not exactly, but there are definitely similarities.
Yeah, I mean, sure, but
exactly. That's what I'm saying. It seems that they're borrowing a lot of the systems.
But they weren't. I don't think that was always how that game worked, though, right?
Oh no, of course. Oh no, don't get me wrong here. When I say that, I am not saying that they sat back and went, "Darn it, Elden Ring's taking over the world. Put that mechanic in the game." No, I'm not saying that. And what I'm saying is, as everyone seemed to have made zombie games at the same time, now this is the genre du jour that everyone seems to be making. Whether it's serendipitous or on purpose, it seems that everybody is borrowing each other's games. But to Pixel G's point in the chat real quick, he's saying this is more Smash TV than it is Elden, and I do agree with that. It borrows a lot more from that Smash TV aesthetic for the old school cats that remember that game. I'm sorry, Everborn, go ahead.
To J Mo Money's point, it's the new Breath of the Wild. You know how everybody calls every game Breath of the Wild. Now everybody's gonna call every game.
Well, but you see the way the narrative is a little skewed. I'm not saying everybody calls it Breath of the Wild, but you know darn well that at some point everybody started implementing Breath of the Wild like systems into existing genres. You know what I'm saying? And I think some of that is happening here. That's why people are calling it out, because it's very similar. It's not identical in every way, but there are very, very many similarities. So
would you say that Hades is Elden Ring like?
No, Hades is roguelike. Okay. Hades stole the drink from Rogue Legacy, and you haven't played that, so you don't know what I'm talking about. But okay. Rogue Legacy is the OG.
I'm just gonna start asking you from now on. Every game that we talk about, is it Elden Ring like?
Is it Elden Ring? Because if it is, you'll try
estimation. No, if it is, I'm just trying to gauge the Elden Ring effect on you. I think you
on me. Oh no.
Yeah.
See, I'm thinking this is the Elden Ring effect on the community, because somehow, some way, there are a lot of similarities going on here. Unless it's one of those situations where it's always been this way, but since that thing shines so brightly,
that's what I think is happening. That's what I think is happening.
We'll get there.
I will tell you something that's bothering me about this game. They couldn't do like a 5-frame animation of him swinging the whip.
See, people said the same thing about Elden Ring, right?
Like, but I'm not like a graphics whore. But come on, like just give me a couple of frames. Bro, swinging.
This game will run like butter on your Sega CD, homie. It'll run like butter.
Oh,
but it's still a great game. And the best part about this game is you can literally run this in a teeny tiny corner of your PC. All you need is one button, the button that controls navigation. That's all, because he auto shoots. right? And while you're going through the game, as you hit certain thresholds, then you get extra weapons, then you get this, then you get that, then there's thunder, then you get armor, then you know, and it's and towards the end game of this is very much like, you know, you are like Destiny 2, dropping thunder, going crazy everywhere, all in a very ridiculously pixelated
and you still
world.
only have the walk animation, right?
And well, no, you can run. That's also upgrades. You can
is that
an
running. Animation though, or is it the same?
He's stuck on the technical animation.
No, I'm sorry. This is like, come on.
I understand. That's why when people ask me about this game, I say, if you get a chance to, don't even look at the footage, because the footage like does it a disservice. But when you play it, you'll go, wow, this thing like is surprisingly deep in its
although I don't think with this many people on screen that the 16-bit era could handle this.
No, yeah,
but even then you would have got attack animations. Like, come on. This is like
what G says he's gonna mute you.
I'm just saying, man.
He's like, negative Nancy, mute this man.
This is ridiculous. I feel
Trust me, and you know me. I'm Mr. 3080, Mr. NLB, newest, latest.
No,
best.
but I'm not
showing you this game that's running on that looks like a Sega CD. It's worth the energy.
Is it? So are we at the point where it's too much to ask for a slash animation? That's it.
Okay, we're moving on. Okay, before you get the chat against you already. Stop it.
Sure.
So I've been playing this. I'll save some other games I've been playing, but I'll let you chime in there, Dutch, because I think you and I played a couple games that this week as well that are similar as well. So what has been on your playlist? What new has been keeping you busy, or are you digging into the backlog at this point?
Yeah, so I've been playing the new Top Gun expansion for Flight Sim.
Awesome. How's that? Awesome. I know you're big into Flight Sim. How did that get you back in?
Yeah, it's awesome. I think it's a lot more. I wouldn't say it's still for the casuals, because if you're not good at flying a plane, then you're probably going to die even quicker on this one and not get very far. The challenges on this one are specific to Top Gun the movie, so it's all about low flying, being as low as you possibly can to the floor, sticking as low as you can
without crashing into things.
Yeah, and get to the point A to point B. Through certain kind of gate zones and things like that.
Can you shoot planes down?
Nope.
Missed opportunity.
It is.
Well, they don't want to do the violence, you know.
Yeah.
We'll save that for a mod, a community mod. I'm sure somebody will come up with something.
I've been saying this for ages though. Bring back combat flight sim. They had combat flight sim years ago. Bring it back.
Which is odd, right? If they weren't going to bring it back with Mavericks, then I guess they just really are not going to bring it back. This would be the perfect opportunity for that.
100%, 100%, and they could quite easily. They've got the full world. They've got the planes in there now. You've got a plane that you get in it that takes you through the stratosphere. I like 140.
Yeah, I've seen images of that online. People have been like loving that. Like, I guess that's from the movie, right?
It is, yeah. It's I've forgotten the name of the plane now, actually, but that's unlocked to fly genuinely as well in the plane in the game, not just in this specific challenge. So you can actually take it out and see what that's all about. It's an insane craft, but yeah, it's good fun. It's got leaderboards in the game now as well, so you can challenge each other. You've got your ghosts, so you can challenge yourself and better your score every time. So yeah, that's cool. And again, it's free. So anybody who has Game Pass, you can play that now. There's no additional cost. Awesome. Enjoy it. Aside from that, I've been playing Sniper Elite 5. Played that with Sean the other day in co-op, and that was absolutely awesome. Really enjoyed that. It does have a couple of little bugs in there that need to be ironed out. It was only on the first mission. The actual target we needed to progress the mission didn't spawn at all. We walked around the entire town to find them and couldn't find them anywhere. So we refreshed it from the previous checkpoint, started again, and they appeared straight away. So it's obviously a little bug in there, nothing huge. There was a bug where we both fell through the entire same part of the floor, and we were just hanging on, but couldn't climb back up. And he was like, "Yep, let's just not."
Now I'll say I've played a bit of Sniper Elite as well, the new Sniper Elite, and I've had 0 bugs. It's actually
it was a very specific location, and unless you went to that tiny little location, you would never
you
have
weren't going to experience it. Okay,
yeah,
because it's funny. I actually played it on the Steam Deck using xCloud just to see. Hey, it's out there. I want to try it out. It ran unusually smooth, like 0 bugs, 0 delays. I was impressed with Sniper Elite 5, like running in from the cloud. So I played a bit of that as well. I haven't put too much time into it, but I really plan on continuing because it's just mad fun. And those X-ray moves, they never get old.
No, never get old. And the addition now, of course, with thanks to FromSoft, the invasion mode.
There you go. See, Everborn, how about them apples? Now you can invade some people's levels. See what I'm saying? It's very from.
So if you're in single player or in multiplayer, you have the option on the main menu to allow invasions. Of course, that means invasions by any random person that can drop into your game.
Technically, you could call that more Deathloop-like, because that came with Deathloop before Elden Ring.
Possibly.
You could invade someone else's game, and that's the thought. I'm sorry, continue.
Possibly. It does come with its benefits, though, so it's not a case of you just get invaded and it's like a pain in the arse. Getting invaded, actually, I do believe it doubles your XP allotment for completing tasks while being invaded. So if you've got tasks throughout the map for like taking out anti-aircraft guns or collecting intel or whatever it is, if you're collecting that intel or taking out those guns whilst that invader is trying to track you down, you're gaining more XP doing that than you would be without the invader. So there is a benefit to it. But it is also fun because he could be anywhere. Invaders have got all abilities completely unlocked. So it means that they can hear your footsteps, they can see you from further away, they can mark you. When you shoot, you're marked on the map immediately. All of those things are unlocked for the invader. So they've got the highest level they possibly can to take you down.
So does that mean when you invade someone else's level, it unlocks a bunch of your stuff for you because you're invading someone else's level?
Yeah, so you've got 4 characters. You've got 1 for campaign, you've got 1 for invasion, and you've got 2 others for multiplayer and then multiplayer co-op. And all 4 of those level up separately, apart from obviously the invasion one, which is completely unlocked. It's maxed out.
Cool.
Yeah. Silky smooth. I'm gonna try a little bit later on. I'm gonna jump on, try the actual multiplayer with General C later on tonight. See what that's all about.
Shout out to General C in the chat. Yes.
Yeah. They've got free for all. They've got team based games. They've got everything. So I'm looking forward to seeing what that's all about and how that works with Sniper Elite. Of course, do you still get your X-ray moves when you're playing online, or is that out completely? Because then, of course, whilst you're waiting for that animation to go through, someone could take you out.
Someone could take you out, yeah. Or does it stop them somehow from being able to?
And everyone watches this X-ray shot. Yeah.
Everyone watches you getting blown in the head.
The good thing about co-op, though. Co-op is cool because when your teammate gets an awesome X-ray shot, both of you watch it at the same time. You don't just.
Oh, cool. Yeah. So it keeps everything synchronized. That's interesting. Yeah.
Which is nice. Awesome. So I'm looking forward to digging more into that. The missions, actually, I think the first mission was about an hour and a half long, I think. Maybe shorter. I think the second mission was an hour and a half long. It took us that long anyway. But that was because we had 2 invasions. So
wow.
We were like, whoa. Really good fun. Looking forward to playing more of that. Cool. And I was playing, I think it was a free to play game called Resistance. Or something similar to that, and it was a World War II game. It's an FPS. That's actually really fun. Unlock a lot of characters. You on both sides of the Axis and the Allies. Unlock tanks and planes and things like that for progressing further on. And you don't need to spend any money on it. I've not spent any money on it, and you can unlock a load of stuff. But it's actually a really, really well done FPS. And if you have the chance, you've got the space in your hard drive, I recommend trying it out. It's brutal though, because it is one-shot kill. It's one of the levels that you can play as is either Axis or Allies, and it is the Normandy invasion. So you're trying to press up that beach,
and you just keep getting shot.
And they've got bunkers, and they've got MG42s and tanks. And everything.
So we're talking. This is the very, very tactical It's not arcadey. It's very much
it's brutal.
Flank.
You've got like
flank
squads of
positions,
people
all
you
this.
can level up and things like that, and you create squads. And if when you die, then you go through the next squad member, and it's like
interesting. Okay.
A war of attrition, basically. Who's got the most people left at the end?
Okay.
And you've actually hit that spot where you're claiming territory. So when you're the allies, you've got to progress further up the beach, where you're the Axis, you've got to try and keep them back as long as you can.
Yeah. Shout out to Gerald Mack in the chat. I know he's big into tactical shooters. He's been doing it in VR and in flat games. I'm sure this sounds like right up his alley. Yeah, that's cool, man. That's cool. I'm looking forward to getting into like a good tactical shooter. The problem is, dad issues, man. How many hours in the day can you coordinate with others to be able to get there before the child wakes up?
That game itself, it's with it being one shot kill, a lot of people will just be like so frustrated because you have to take your shots. If you miss your shot, you're dead. So yeah, it's awesome. Try it out.
That's great. That's what you've been playing this week?
Yep, that's my 3.
Awesome.
Yep.
Yeah, as you can tell, a lot of folks have been digging through the crates, heading to a little older games and whatnot. For me, all that is old is new because I'm just playing a bunch of stuff on Steam Deck these days. And I will shout it out here as well. What is it? Epic Games released the trilogy of BioShock for free on their store. Games a couple years old. Most PCs can run it. Maybe not like the latest and greatest, but you can run it. And Steam Deck runs it brilliantly. So if you haven't checked it out, you definitely should. It's pretty awesome. I was talking to a couple people on Twitter. Between what Twitch gives away and what Epic Game Store give away, bunch of free games I've been able to enjoy on Steam Deck that I have not paid for, and it's just really awesome. Hey, let me give this a shot, and you'll be surprised at how awesome it works. So if you haven't checked it out, whether you have a Steam Deck or not, game's free. You download it, you can play it on your PC or something. It's pretty awesome. You should definitely check it out. So, all right, let us move on because we have some news stories to discuss, and since we don't have that many games that we have currently been playing, I think it'd be interesting to just move on to some new games that are being announced and where we're going and all of that, because that's what we're here for. So let's transition into that. Let's start with the next Jedi announcement here. Now, I'm sure, and I'm being presumptuous, but I'm going to be presumptuous and assume that everyone and anyone who played this loved this game. Because by all accounts, it did better than it had any right to do because, hey, Zampella was behind it, so it's going to be great. But usually, the people have been jaded by bad Star Wars games and by bad games in general and single player non-gas games from EA. But the first one seemed to hit so well, so well. And it looks like the next one is coming. Introducing Star Wars Jedi Survivor, right? Darker, What do you think, Dutch? Was this exciting?
The one thing that's excited me straight away is he's not wearing a poncho. So, hallelujah. Hallelujah.
That dang poncho.
Yeah.
Yes.
He's it looks the trailer as well looks absolutely phenomenal. Loved the first one. I played as soon as when that came out, I played all the way through it. Not in one sitting. I think it was over a course of a couple of days, but loved it. Absolutely loved the game. I cannot wait to see this game in action, and I suspect we'll probably see that next month. I suspect we'll see gameplay very shortly for it as well. But it's judging by the headline there as well from them saying the game's going to be more dark and a little bit more gritty. Bring that on. Yep. Bring on the Sith in their full menace.
And for those, and of course we won't get into it because this is not on the reel. But for those who haven't checked out the new Obi-Wan, after you see their back and forth there with the Inquisitors, I'm like, yo, give me that in game form. And it looks like that's what they're doing here. It looks like they're really going deep in that direction. It is awesome. I'm looking forward to it. Did you see this, Everborn? Oh, I don't know if he's there. Mr. Everborn.
No, I'm here. Yeah. I'm here. Trying to get off mute. It feels like a conference call at work. No, I saw this. Very interested. I have to finish this game. I'm about 75% of the way through it, and I just kind of put it down and never got back to it. So definitely have to finish this before it comes out.
Yep.
And to the Obi-Wan thing, I watched the opening of it. That scene where they were being attacked, very high production value, man.
Oh, indeed, sir.
Looking at you, Halo. But
see,
high
and me and Dutch were talking about this morning. I expected you to have smoke for Halo because of the latest episode
absolutely.
of what do you call it, Stranger Things. Which
no, I didn't get to that yet. I didn't get to that.
The first episode. The first episode has a bigger budget than all of the Halo series combined.
But this is what I'm saying, man. They spent like $200 and whatever million for 9 episodes. $220 million or something like that. Like, that's over $20 million an episode. How do you have these other
Where
shows?
Did the money go?
How do you have them looking like this and then Halo?
Where did the money go? You should ask. Did that go to pay for Master's cheeks? Just a question,
man. I don't know. Maybe there's some Hollywood accounting and money laundering going on. Who knows? But anyway,
that you should not say back to that institution, sir. Come on now.
Back to Star Wars. No, this looks interesting. Obviously, we want to see gameplay. I hear it's next gen only.
Yes,
which is super
2023.
Well.
Yeah.
So I wonder what that's going to do for sales. Because what do we have? Maybe between the two of them, less than 40 million. I guess we'll have 40 million by then.
Remember, though, on the box side, there are always more options, right? There are people right now on Xbox Ones enjoying the heck out of their flight sim. Just saying.
But that's a game that's in Game Pass. And
you think this won't be? Maybe not day and date. Maybe not day and date, but
but
6 months in Game Pass. The first one.
My point is, when we talk about the cloud streaming, I think that we need. Hey, what's happening, J-Rock? No, but I think that Xbox needs to, and I know we're going to talk about Keystone or whatever, but
we'll get there. Yep.
Before Keystone comes out, I think they need to get their licensing in order so that you can buy a game and have access to it in the cloud. Instead of limiting it to Game Pass, because if you're saying we're going to sell people this box and it requires everyone that buys the box to have a subscription, you're kind of limiting the
100%
the sales of this thing. So anyway, I think it's a bold move that they're going next gen. But this is 3 years into the generation, so shouldn't they be,
I suspect they probably always had planned. See, that's the thing, okay? And you call it a bold move. I call it most likely an inevitability that they could not avoid, because if you think about
the scope of the game,
not necessarily yes, but beyond that, exactly that, the scope, but beyond that, I also think it's that way because unlike, for instance, Gotham Knights, that can make that decision from jump. Oh yeah, we're gonna adhere to compatible with Jaguar cores, and then later down the line go, well, the frames ain't great, so we're gonna drop them. Right? It's still a last gen game. If they started this during, obviously, as soon as the last one finished and it did what it did, they most likely started working on the next one, right? And being that it's coming out so soon, you'd think certain assets have been reused, cleaned up further in the story and all of that. There's no way they could then say, okay, we're going to continue the generation using the last Jaguar cores, like you're describing. The scope would always be limited, right? So even if they wanted, and now we are at the tail end of the chip shortage and all of that, even if they wanted to bring PS4 into the mix and Xbox One, they started the product with no Jaguar cores. So you can't then add Jaguar cores back in later, right? But that's where what we just discussed becomes more useful, where, hey, maybe you can play it from the cloud. We don't know how that will work, but hey, that might be a stopgap to be able to recruit some of that money that you will lose from last gen. You know what I'm saying?
We'll see. But it'll be on PC also, so that can make
it will. Yes, it will.
Now, one other thing, one thing that I hope they address in this game, one thing I found, and the reason I kind of got 75% of the way through and just kind of left it, I kept getting lost, and the map system in this is not intuitive at all. And it's not like the level design is bad, but the map itself and targeting your objectives of where you're supposed to go, it's not an open world game that just promotes exploration, but it's so you have these contained levels that you now have to backtrack and then go, and then there's different kind of levels within the level that you have to get to. So, and again, I'm not talking about the map that you play. I'm talking about the map when you pause it and you're trying to see where the hell you're trying to go.
Oh yeah, anybody that really played this game recognizes that was the fault of the game. It had a terrible map system, even though it was serviceable. It could have been and should have been better. So hopefully, they definitely address that.
More times than not, I had no idea where I was going and ended up traveling someplace that I thought was new, only to end up back at the beginning.
Getting lost is easy in that world. Yes. And I think what was their saving grace is that they made those levels so well and so iconic and laid them out so well that at some point, once you traverse it multiple times, you just don't even use the map anymore. You can just remember, oh yeah, I go here, I go there. But that requires repeat, going over and over again, and then your brain starts cueing in as if it's like real directions in a real place. You shouldn't have to do that. The map should be better. I do agree with you.
But, not to bring Elden Ring up again, I get lost
now he's
all the time in Elden Ring, and then I'll just end up on a whole other journey for something else, and there's always something to do. Yep. And this didn't feel like that. Like, so you clear an area, and now you're just kind of backtracking and doing those things. So, again, small complaint, but super annoying. So I hope that's one of the focuses for the sequel.
Go ahead, man.
As well with marketing rights, I was going to say, to Sif's point with marketing rights, Xbox had them for the first one, so it's likely they'll have them for the second.
There you go. Yeah.
Do they show gameplay on June 12th?
I seriously think you will see something. They don't drop this. They would have dropped this trailer 3 weeks from now on one of those shows if that's all they had, instead of dropping it before the shows. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So I suspect you'll see a bit more probably at the show. We could move on, but real quickly, I'll just mention, initially when the first game came out, I wasn't too enthused about the protagonist character. I like what's his name, Cameron Monaghan, I think his name is
the Joker.
I've seen him. I'm one of those few plebes who watched all of the Gotham TV show from 2014 to 2019 and saw him play the Joker.
All that nonsense Jada Pinkett was doing with that character.
Hilarious nonsense. Okay. But he played the Joker actually pretty well for a show that was very C tier. He did a better job than most did in that show. So he's always been on my radar. But when he first started playing Kestis, I was like, it could have been a bit more interesting. He won me over. By the end of it, I was in it. I'm excited to see this continue, but I will give a little bit of voice to that news story that came out that said that initially they wanted to make it a more diverse protagonist lineup, and they got pushback on that. Although I like Kestis Cameron in this role, and I think he should continue. In a world where options can be made available for to that respect, I would have liked that as well. This may not be that, but hopefully in the future that will be allowed. If you think he's a generic protagonist, give it a shot. I thought so too in the beginning, and I was won over. The game was great, mad fun. So yes, if you haven't played
BB is so cute.
And BB is
Grogu a run for his money.
GOAT. That's right, and he has a better name than Grogu.
Right. Question for everybody. Who was that Sephiroth looking dude in the water?
Sephiroth, they've just done a crossover. That's it.
Oh, that's it. Listen, that's how you do it.
That's how you do it, right?
Yeah.
Cross pollination. Let's go.
Just replace his really long sword with a really long lightsaber.
I'd be here for it.
That's all that matters.
I'm there for it. Yeah. I don't know, but in all seriousness, I have no idea, and I'm interested to see who that is meant to be. Any massive Star Wars lore geeks that might know of who this protagonist might be,
please let us know. Yeah, indeed.
Pixel says Revan.
Oh, so it's Darth Revan? Interesting. Okay. Isn't Darth Revan from the KOTOR? Wasn't he like KOTOR adjacent? I think KOTOR 2 had Revan in it. I thought so. Anyway, you let me know if I'm mistaken on that. The name sounds familiar. Darth Revan. It does sound familiar. Anyway.
One other thing I will add. This Fallen Order, and again, I'm only 75% of the way through it. Maybe they screw the pooch in the ending. but it had a better through line plot than all of the Disney Star Wars movies.
Apart from Rogue One.
Apart from Rogue One, I'll give you that.
There's a reason why the Dutchman he hails in the annals around here because the man has great takes. Indeed, sir. Indeed.
But I agree
Rogue
as well.
One had balls.
The best Star Wars movie ever. Fight me. Go ahead. Let's go. Let's go. Best ever.
I agree. Thankfully, Everborn, by the end of Fallen Order, the ending is absolutely worth playing the game all the way through.
Yep.
And
I concur. The end is just as good as all the way through. It's awesome.
No, I'm 100% going to finish it before this comes out, and thankfully, I've got most of it done, so I'll get her done.
See now, beast mode. You've dropped in the annals a little bit. Come on now, but we still appreciate you here, sir. All right. But okay, so continuing the whole announcement talk. Let's see Everborn Saga on cam a little bit because Sega is possibly announcing a new project, and I'll let you tackle this one first. We just saw generic JPEG on screen. Hey, they have a project reveal in Japan next week. It may be retro themed. No one really knows. What do you think, Mr. Everborn Saga?
It's gonna be interesting. Like a lot of people have been asking for like a mini Dreamcast.
Man, my collection needs it. It's right there.
I'm
well, y'all don't
saying,
see it, but it needs it.
I'm just saying, if that's what it is. But listen, another thing that's interesting to me, and people thought I was joking or grasping at straws when I said this the other week. They said, unless there's going to be a delay, they said Sonic Frontiers was going to come out this year.
They haven't changed their minds yet. Yes.
And if they haven't changed their minds at some point, like we're basically in June now.
Yeah.
So when do we think they would show it? Is it? And again, they're saying this is a new project, so sure.
I think you'll see Frontiers at Jeff Keighley's.
Is it possible you could see it at the Xbox show?
I mean,
I'm just saying they have that close partnership, right?
Yeah.
Sarah Bond's
and most
working
likely
with
they're
them.
developing on Microsoft Tech, so I wouldn't be surprised.
So
doesn't mean it's an exclusive, but still.
No. Well, so, I want to talk about exclusives because I don't know if you have the Indiana Jones thing and what Jess said.
We'll talk about the Indiana Jones thing. Yes, okay. We'll bring that up.
When we get to that, I just want to ask everybody a question and ponder this for when we get to that topic. Mm-hmm. Does knowing someone else can't play a game make the game better in any way? Does it make it more enjoyable? And I want you to look deep within yourself. And I'm not talking about what's good for the business.
Deep into your
obviously exclusives are good for the business and the companies, but you not the company. You are the player, right? So again, just ask yourself, is someone else not being able to play that title?
So
does it change your?
We will dig into that topic for real. But I'll let J Rock's comment here just sit here because that's my take on it. That's
1,000%, 1,000%. As long as I don't got to come out of pocket. But now this Sega thing,
what is on their mind?
Are we sure that this is specifically a? By the way, I also just to temper people's expectations. Mm-hmm. Usually when Sega does these things, they're like a wet fart, so it might not be
this is coming from the stand of all Sega stands. He's like, such temporary expectations, they usually suck at this.
All right.
Read that translated version of that tweet again.
This one? Okay, let's go back to it.
Appearances, does that mean ? Look at the controller that he's made.
Sega, as in Genesis.
What's the Genesis? So what is that referring to? Because it's something to do with that announcement above.
Yeah.
Interesting.
And they did mention in the announcement that it will be retro related.
Interesting. Speaking of just Seaman.
That game, man. Oh boy.
But
I remember being I think I was 10 or something, seeing that game going, I don't know why, but I feel this is inappropriate.
J Mo Money says 32X re-release. I'm here for it. And all 12 of the games they released for it.
The whole collection right on there.
But just with one other thing about Sonic Origins, I really feel like it's a missed opportunity that they kept the pixelated.
Yeah, let's play that again there. Because so you level set so people understand what you're talking about. This is Sonic Origins, also coming out soon. What you're seeing is basically animations that will be used to fill in between levels and possibly between the games, but they'll be playing the retro games, and you'll have to pay extra to see the animations.
That's hilarious. But like, you really could have done the hand-drawn sprites.
You could have given it that what's the game that came out recently that did that so well?
Beat 'em Up. Dragon's Trap did it,
but that was earlier. But even the most latest and greatest, which you couldn't finish because the boss kept kicking your butt. What's his name?
Oh, Streets of Rage 4.
Streets of Rage 4. Same graphics. Yeah,
I'm on the final level and
still can't do it. And I offered to help him, but he's like, nah.
I don't want that on my resume. Couldn't beat Streets of Rage 4. Had to call in for help. Absolutely.
So instead, it's like couldn't beat Streets of Rage 4.
I'll get to it.
I mean, I was going to say even if the maybe just jazzed up the backgrounds a little bit and kept the foreground classic, because the backgrounds
see, but it seems like they don't even want to touch the code. It looks like they're just adding filler in between it.
Yeah, which to me is why I'm passing on it personally, because I've got all of the Sonics. I don't need to
get them in so many iterations. It's not even funny.
Yeah,
they probably, just as someone who has done a few animations or produced a few animations, let's say, I can't draw to save my life. They probably paid maybe $100,000 for the little animations they added. Called it a day. Gave you the same.
Yeah.
Which is like so unfortunate. And you know what? It's interesting you bring that up, because we will transition to another story, and I kind of want to
animation like that costs about $4,000 a minute. So the question is, how many minutes of animations are they going to give us? And then you'll know how much investment they put into this.
and it wasn't an official topic I wanted to bring up, but it being that you brought this up, I do want to break into that just a little bit. We saw this week, I saw Digital Foundry show early footage, and they did early testing of the PlayStation collection when it comes out, the retro games, and what they'll look like and this and that. And it looks, for some reason, that they're also taking that we don't care too much approach. I wonder why that is. It's almost like these companies, although they feel the need to be pushing in that direction because that's what we want, they're doing it kicking and screaming and not really putting their best foot forward. You know what I'm saying? Like, for those who aren't aware, what do you call it? Digital Foundry did a video where they basically, long story short, said this is the rare instance where Nintendo does better job than PlayStation does, because they want to make sure that the retro game they release to the public has as much playability as possible. So what do? Instead of giving you the NTSC version, they give you the PAL version, because obviously the PAL version will come with way more language support than the NTSC version will. But it seems like they kind of went into the background and went, well, in addition to way more languages, it also runs at 50 hertz instead of the standard 60. So instead of actually giving you both options like Nintendo does, they just try to use some conversion technology to make it work anyway, and it looks terrible, like horrible. But everything, like, there are emulators on the Xbox Series S that plays all those games better than on the PS5 right now, which is like head scratching to me. I just don't understand why do you even bother putting in the effort if you're not going to do it well?
Give them time.
Oh yeah. I'm sure they'll do it. But
again,
isn't there the idea of putting your best foot, like best foot forward, and no chance to have a second impression? Like, why would you start so terribly?
Because they will get a second chance and a third, and people will take what they give them. But Just sort of.
You're burying the headline there, my friend. Oh, people will take what they give them. No, that's the lead story, brother. That's the lead story.
No, but I mean, you have to let's not underestimate or take for granted the work that Microsoft have been putting in for years in turn with emulation and doing all those other things. So just 100%. Because that tech is more advanced and they're really good at that.
I hear you on that, but where I push back is I'm not even comparing them to Microsoft, because Microsoft is the gold standard. They're using hypervisors, they're using virtual machines. I'm comparing them to the kid in the basement that literally took the OG PS2 and made an emulator out of it. One dude, and it runs better than the corporation's emulator. That's where I'm taking my criticism from. The community is littered with great PlayStation emulators that are made by you and me, people who are sick and tired of them not being able to play these games.
Are those emulators running on the PS5 hardware?
No. But you have to understand, it's not how they're doing it now. To my understanding, and of course, they could come out with more news and change that. But to my understanding, it's solely software based, which it should be, because at this point, those games are so old that you can run it on almost anything. You can run them on phones these days. So there's no reason for there to be hardware compatibility with it. And technically, if you think about it, the PS5 and the Xbox are the same. So if the Series S can run those emulators and make it run righteous, then so should the PS5. Same base hardware, same Zen cores, same processor, same CPU, GPU. It's just they took more time with the software than PlayStation seems to be doing right now. Right? Based on the Digital Foundry's reports, they don't even have a team staffed up to actually do this work. It kind of came out in dribs and drabs, and they're not really giving it the effort that it deserves. You know what I'm saying? So, and don't get me wrong, this is not me lashing them. This is me scratching my head going, this is an easy layup. Why is it so difficult for y'all? Y'all, this should be easily done. You can literally just Google, go into Google and type in best PlayStation emulator, and you'll find one better than what's being offered right now, right? And obviously this is PlayStation. They could go there and go, hey guys, we see you're doing great work. How about y'all come work for us? And then boom, your emulator gets better, right? I wonder why that wasn't done. It seems that they are still in that mindset of it's old games. This will just be a flash in the pan anyway. And I hope they change their minds.
I think they just started the process later, right? So Microsoft sort of has, and I know you're saying they could go to the community, but the point is, because they're earlier in their process, this is where we are now. And because Microsoft's solution is even more mature, and some of these emulators are more mature, I do think they'll get there. It's just
I 100%. I know they'll get there. I guess my basis of all of this is just, you guys have been historically on point when it comes to this. Why all of a sudden that we're starting to see cracks in that perfect armor of yours? You know, this is not one that you should come out badly about. It should have been good from jump, because it's easy to do relatively compared to, The Last of Us 2 that you guys released on what could be considered an abacus hardware wise, and still it's shining, right? So this is not where you should have messed it up. But yes, I do agree with you that over time we'll definitely see them do much better work than they are right now. But let's continue down the PlayStation line here, because we've already started heading down the PlayStation point. But we now know that there will be a 30-minute presentation coming soon, right? The state of play, and they're doing, I think, June 2nd, right? And there will be third parties, they've said, and they're focusing heavily on PlayStation VR 2 games. So does that mean we get no flat games? Does that mean this is just, we'll get this for now and possibly get another one for normal PlayStation 5 games later? That remains to be seen. Wandering Dutch, let's get you into this conversation. What did you think when this came up? I mean, obviously, I don't think you were surprised that they were doing this. We all but knew that that this June would be heavy with various events and announcements. What are your thoughts?
Initially, when I seen State of Play, I was like, okay, let's get it. And then I read it and I thought, missed opportunity. I'll wait for the next one.
You're not a big PlayStation VR fan, no?
Well, it's not just that, but even if I was, it's not what I want to see right now. We want to see what actual, first of all, God of War is still meant to be coming out this year. If they don't hit June, July showcasing that game, that's not game's delayed. It is. We've seen, and it doesn't make it a bad thing. It just means that this tail end of this year is going to be third party heavy. But yeah, it's time now for them to showcase what else they're working on. We know the basics. We know Last of Us remake. We know God of War. We know Wolverine. We know Spider-Man. And then what? And then and that's where Sony's really starting to start putting their foot down and actually get a real showcase in place. Not third party, which is good. We're going to see some games in there that are going to be on Xbox, Nintendo, PlayStation.
Do we see Final Fantasy 16 or Street Fighter 6 at this show?
FF16,
maybe.
Yes, I would imagine. That's third party. I would imagine that would be in there. Street Fighter, possibly, but I think the next Street Fighter won't be exclusive. Won't be Sony.
I'm with you on that, Dutch. A lot of people think Sony locked it down again.
Yeah, for me, it could go either way.
I don't think it will right now. The last one didn't do anything until it went. Everybody have it.
Yeah.
Like Street Fighter 5 to most Street Fighter fans was a terrible letdown.
True.
And I've got a lot of people that played Street Fighter hardcore could take on pretty much anybody you want, and they were not going to move platforms to play the next one. And that is, when you've got a dedicated group of people that play, if you've got, for instance, if you're on Xbox and you've got a whole friend list that plays Street Fighter, and then Street Fighter goes goodbye, and then ditches the entire thing. That entire community is not shifting over. Make it one or two that go to play the game, but the vast majority will just say, nope, I'll just stick to playing Street Fighter 4 Arcade Edition, whatever it is, and just stick with that and continue to do the fighting there or play the classic Street Fighters, whatever it is. So all of them up until 4 Arcade Edition, etc., we're all there, perfect, running absolutely great. I used to play it loads as well. I've got it on. I think give it away on PS Plus. I downloaded it, played it once, haven't played it since. There is no community for me there to play it on there, so I suspect as well that was a bad move from their side to lock it down. Alienating an entire community for a multi-plat game like that is ridiculous.
Well, to be fair, there were reports that they needed the development help, so. You go ask for PlayStation for some money. What they'll say, sure, but now your game belongs to us.
Now you're stuck forever. I can understand with the vast majority where they say, the reason it's coming out on PlayStation first is because they helped us develop it, and that's the initial thing. But it should never be a case of, and same to Microsoft, should never be a case of, if this is originally a multi-plat game, that shouldn't be forever a single platform game. Like, lock it down for a year or so. If you've lock it down for a year or so, if you've helped build it and design it, etc., so you get the initial sales boost. But a year after, who cares? Like, who cares?
Yeah, let them have it as well. No, I agree with you on that for sure. And for the audio listeners, we're showing a video, an image that shows you basically that June is going to be pretty stacked as far as announcements is concerned, and as far as
we've got just in between PlayStation and Summer Game, you've got that Sega announcement.
There you go. So June is going to be really stacked. What we're going to get?
Question. So about State of Play, and about Sony's showcase, which
do we know how much the VR2 is yet?
I don't
so let's see. Based on the tech we see and all of that, I suspect the PSVR2 will be more expensive than the Xbox Series S.
I think it's going to be
more expensive than the console, the PlayStation 5.
I don't think so.
I don't think it'll be more expensive than PS5.
I'm betting.
I do think it'll be either the same price. Either the same price or a little bit more expensive than the Series S, which will be $300, $299 or $350, somewhere around there. Which then means your PSVR 2 costs almost $1,000 when you combine it with the PlayStation, which is like, that's crazy. I'm sorry, Everborn, you were saying.
Well, firstly, I gave my Oculus to my kids.
Okay.
just so that window has passed for me. It's theirs now. The other thing is, what are Sony's 2023 plans? What do we think their first party roadmap looks like?
And let's get into that.
Difficult, yeah.
But yeah, that's the question, right? Isn't that more of a wait till state of play? Which
I don't think you wait till state of play though, right?
Yeah,
because they're not going to show first party stuff there.
That's right. They won't tell you much.
Right. And I think that the reason they haven't announced their summer showcases because this is just how they operate. They're waiting for Microsoft to sort of blow their load, and then they'll do the counterattack.
Pause. Although in this instance, Microsoft announces their show, and you see them kind of jumping ahead of time. So usually they like to respond to MS. In this instance, they're coming out.
But this is not. But again, this is bait, right?
Yeah. True. Yeah.
This is just like the fake out attack to draw your opponent in,
to draw you out,
and then when you swing, you come with the dodge, and then that's when they Jin Sakai you.
And that's when they Jin Sakai you.
Right? So
I was gonna say the same thing.
And that's just how they operate. They move like samurai. So I expect an announcement of a show maybe the week after June 12th. And that show will probably be sometime in July, maybe August, the latest.
Cool.
And that's going to be the future of PlayStation, and we'll see their roadmap. But the question is, right now, as it stands, because call it luck, call it bad luck, Xbox is really stacked for 2023 because of delays from 2022. That's replaced. That's Stalker 2, obviously Starfield Redfall. We'll see when Forza Motorsport comes out. Have we heard anything, and not to cut you, Mr. Everborn, I'll let you get back to it. Have we heard anything about Atomic Heart? I know they're a Russian developer.
Atomic Heart and Stalker 2 are back in development now.
Okay.
If replaced, they've had to push it back till 23 is what we're waiting to confirm. As it stands, Stalker still releases in December 8th. Okay. And Atomic Heart still also releases this fall.
Oh, bro. If Atomic Heart doesn't release, I'll be so disappointed.
Conflict and repositioning the studios and everything like that.
Delayed.
Those will be delayed till next year.
Yeah. So, although, let's be clear though, Atomic Heart has like an hour video from 2018 you can watch right now on YouTube. They've been at this showing you actual full-fledged gameplay for years now, like really clean, polished. Hey, somebody's playing it, the whole thing basically since 2018. So I really hope that they're ready to pull the trigger on it.
So,
Everborn, you were saying.
So I say that to say maybe Final Fantasy 16 makes 2023.
23, yeah. 23, yeah.
Yeah, but I just know every Final Fantasy game has always been delayed many, many times before it actually comes out. So, I'm not even 100%.
The Final Fantasy hype cycle equals delays. That's exactly. Part of it.
Final delay. Fantasy.
Right. So again, and then we hear that Insomniac Spider-Man 2 for 2023. I don't have any reason to doubt.
I doubt
Insomniac.
That.
That's fine.
I doubt.
But I don't have any reason to doubt Insomniac will miss that date. But other than that,
what else you got?
I don't know. And that's why we need the show.
Yeah, we do because there's PlayStation haven't mentioned the forward pipeline, and I think both Xbox and PlayStation need to learn from each other in the way they do things. PlayStation need to be a little bit more forthcoming on, right, this is our roadmap of projects. You'll see more of that as the years go by into how close it's going to be. And they did that with Wolverine. They're very confident in saying, right, Insomniac's working on Wolverine and Spider-Man. Wolverine's way out. We know that. But, it's being worked on. It's a future project. Happy days. But then that was where it stopped. They didn't say, and Naughty Dog's working on this. And what was the other one? The guys that did Days Gone. I've forgotten the name of them now.
Bend.
Yes, Sony Bend. We have no idea.
So
that's a new project.
The other thing is, and the reason why I'm asking about their 2023 and just their future roadmap, how many of those games do we think are going to be their traditional fare of single player story driven stuff? Because they continually talk about they want to make this push into service games.
Yeah.
So there's a bunch of stuff that have not been announced. Doesn't it stand to reason that most of the things they haven't announced are just these service games, these multiplayer service games?
They do want, I think they mentioned something like 5 released in the next.
Yeah.
And I think it was in the next couple of years. And by 2025, it was 10 service games.
But now they've moved it to 12, right? They said that Jim Ryan said there's 2 more.
Yeah, recently.
So again, I'm thinking they're shifting focus of their studios. Like Naughty Dog is working on factions. And these other studios are going to be working on service games. Now they may be able to execute in a way where we all love them, right? But this is new for them. So I think there's going to be a little bit of growing pains with the service games.
100%.
So real quick, let me point out real quick. Give me 1 second. I see Beast Mode in the chat saying he thinks that it might be 2024.
Of course, you're highlighting people that agree with you.
Oh, is our tradition, good sir. I'm highlighting folks who agree with me. And they don't do assets. They focus on the gameplay and they leave the cinematics to the Sony ninjas, as they were, which in this case would be Sony Malaysia.
Right. But to Pixel's point, this is going to be another, I think, God of War Forbidden West kind of thing where it's the same world, it's the same assets.
But you know what? That's the thing, though. Are you sure about that? Because they've been able to play that trick. They've been able to play that trick between Spider-Man and Miles Morales. But those 2 games look
freaking amazing. I think they can get away with it one more time.
Not sure. I'm not sure they can or they want.
The problem you've got with Spider-Man in general is that he's always, like, throughout the games in the past and the even through the series, if you exclude just Marvel, where he's going off to fight in the Infinity War or whatever it is, like outside of that, his specific character is always in one city, and there comes a point where that particular character and the world that he's in becomes stale, so they have to manage this properly.
But this is why it's all going to come down to the story that they tell, right?
Yeah.
So what I think is you utilize the same world. Obviously, you're going to have new costumes, but you're going to give them new move sets. And if you tell a compelling story, the city is just the backdrop for you to traverse, right? So it's almost like it doesn't really matter, right? So I do think they can get this out, only because I think that they're going to reuse a lot of at least the city assets, right?
See, and my belief on that is they were able to strike it hot with the first one. They were able to do it really well with Miles Morales, right? And they let you focus on it, and Beast Mode makes a great point in the chat. All they let you focus on is the main story, as you're saying, Everborn, and all of that. But everything surrounding it was always less than because of the hardware targets, right? I don't think that we get away with like simplistic NPCs like they've had before, where they're like, Spider-Man, give me a high five, and you walk up to them and you can't even do it because they're stagnant. You know what I'm saying? Like, and you, Everborn, brought up a very interesting point with me a couple days ago. We were chatting. Have they confirmed this will be next gen only?
Because I don't think it is.
I
absolutely think it's going to be multiplayer.
You see, and this comes up. This brings up and Dutch.
I should say.
And Dutch, you may not be aware of this, but myself and Mr. Everborn Saga have a little bit of a bet going, and I think that the chip shortage, all of the reasons, this generation will last far, far longer than we thought. Yes, they projected it before, but they projected it before all of this stuff started happening. And as things happen, you have to adapt and change. I foresee the PS generation 10 years. And I foresee you seeing first-party PlayStation 5 games, first-party Sony games being offered to the PS4 in 2024. He says, no, December 31st, You'll never see another PlayStation 5 PS4 game again. They may be third parties, but they will not release a first party in 2024. And I'm betting that Spider-Man 2 will be in 2024.
Well,
and
I'm betting it'll be in
PS4.
23. And yes, Slow-Mo, I played and beat Spider-Man, sir.
Welcome, Slow. Good to see you. I hope you're feeling better, brother, man. He's a little under the weather, so get a man some love if you haven't already. But thank you for pulling up, man. But yeah, so with all of this, I think you might as well just like quit on the bet right now.
Nope.
There is no way
January
not
1st,
releasing a
2024
PS4 game in 2024. There is no way they're not, because there are a bunch of games, and even by then they're like, and this leads into the mid-gen refresh conversation and all of this. I don't foresee Xbox doing it. Maybe PlayStation will. I don't foresee Xbox doing it. Because at the end of the day, the more you give them new hardware, the more it costs you, the maker of said hardware or the platform, right? It's kind of like owning renting a car. What do you call it? Financing a car. You don't finance the car, and then as soon as you're done paying for it, you send the car away and buy and finance a new one. Then you just keep paying, right? The reason why you want that gen to last longer is because at some point you break even on the hardware and you start even making profit. And as long as the games still keep hitting, looking at you, Nintendo, with your SoC from the Abacus days of 2013, they're still churning out butter and they're still making the money with that. And everything is money at that point, right? Both hardware and software sales is money at that point. And since the chips are hard to get now, in 2-3 years, if they replace them, they'll still be paying for the chips rather than getting money back from the R&D that they did before, right? So I personally don't foresee mid-gen refreshes. I may see that happen possibly to PlayStation because they're behind the crown of the whole which is better. But even that, they've been able to use marketing to circumvent all of that. So they don't need to prove it.
More likely to see cost efficient.
Exactly. They've already done it, right? They've already started down that train. They've already replaced some of the copper with more standard material, things like that. You'll see more of that happen.
The thing to think
save
about,
money.
and I said this once we moved to x86 last gen, and then I said it again when we got the mid-gen console refreshes. And
Shout
then
out to Jigga J.
and then it was, and then I said it again when the Xbox Series consoles launched with the same UI as the One consoles.
Mm-hmm.
I almost wonder if generations are done.
Oh, right? for Xbox, they've been done for a minute.
So
PlayStation not so much.
So if you don't have generational cutoffs, right? And again, this generation is like, okay, now we're all using SSDs. Now we are, we have ray tracing cores. We're doing those things. But I you know what?
Get to your point, man. Leave Slow-Mo alone.
I'm going to send you something in your DM, sir.
Leave Slow-Mo alone.
No, I'm DMing you, Slow-Mo.
For the audio listeners, this is the game that is played always. Slow-Mo enters the chat and proceeds to derail Everborn as much as possible.
All right, so check your
point, Everborn, with regards to refreshes. I think in terms of names as well, I think Xbox is more future-proofed on that, because Xbox Series can be Series whatever they want.
Whatever you want. That's right.
But PlayStation now having just resolving on numbers and just going to PlayStation 5, 6, 7,
but
8.
I say this.
Change that. I
say this all to say, I think that when we slow in the DM. No, I think that when I think going forward, you can have these pro launches or PlayStation 6s and whatever the next Xboxes are. They're all going to use the same UI. They're all going to play the same games. There's no concept of backwards compatibility anymore. They're just going to work going forward.
Turning into TVs,
so, right?
You're saying.
Or video cards, right?
Exactly.
So I think we're moving into that world where you can have a release every 3 years, and it'll be up specs, but there's no difference in development
where I will push back on you about the 2-3 year, and I think I heard Slow talking about that also on DPS. Shout out to
I don't
DPS
think you can do it right now because of the chip shortage, but I'm saying in
there's
general,
a piece that's missing. There's a piece that's missing that people aren't bringing up. Up until now, and they use the historical information to justify the future movement, saying up until now, you saw them do a mid refresh here, you saw them do a mid refresh there. The reason why I doubt that will happen this time around is because up until this generation, they've always been working with very crappy hardware. It's always been many versions behind. They have never, if you take a console and you rejigger it and put it in a PC, you can barely do anything with that because those things are meant to be purposely built for console gaming. They don't have the hardware resources needed to do general things. They've always been able to shine brightly as consoles, but not really as powerful PCs until this gen. Now, it's no longer the case, but for a small window there, they outshined PCs. Small window. They did, right? But that tells you that moving forward, there is no way. Moving forward, there's no way they can just iterate because it'll be tip of the spear. They've always been able to rely on, oh, well, we have 4080s in here now, 4090s coming out now. What can we do? Well, let's throw a chip from 5 years ago in
processors and
exactly. They no longer can do that because they're competing with the what do you call it, the 20 series GPUs.
This is my thing that I said the other day as well, though, is that the problem we've got now is that
yes, the
technology.
I'll show you. Go ahead.
The technology is grievously outpacing the time and pace of development. The developers cannot keep up with the technology's output. So you're saying, okay, well, we've got these brand new consoles that we have barely even used yet. These brand new cards that we've barely even scratched the surface yet.
Yep. To this day, PC adheres to 20 series cards, and even that's the high end. Mostly it's 10 series because nobody can afford anything else. So they haven't even cracked the nut of getting you to use the full features of your 30 series cards, not even the 20s yet. You know what I'm saying?
This is where I'm saying, like, when people are like specifically the 40 series cards coming out soon, you don't
ridiculous.
You do not need one. When it releases, there is absolutely zero point in getting one of them cards because developers aren't creating games quick enough to make use of them cards. So right now it would be pointless. And to be fair, I think on Nvidia's part, it could be a point where they see some slow sales for the 40 series cards.
Oh yeah, because then nobody needs it. Nobody needs it
right now.
Yes, and to address you, Slow. Yes, I know the 3000 series cards and RDNA 2 were already out, and even RDNA 3 is already out, and they're still talking about 2s. But I'm not talking about every aspect of resources. I'm talking about before, like, and y'all have heard me say this on the show before. We've always considered console gamers the Honda Civics of the game, right? And every once in a while, you'll get heated seats, and then you think you determine where the future goes. No, the future is where the PC is, and then they trickle it down to you as the features become more economy and economies of scale work in its favor. We know that. And this is the first time that they've come so close to, if you were to take a series console and rejigger into a PC, you have yourself a formidable PC today. That has never happened in console world before. Now, whether that's good or bad, that's neither here nor there. What I'm saying is, because that is what's going on today, if you go to AMD or to NVIDIA and you say, I want to spec out the chips for the future, it's going to cost you because what you have today matters today. They've never had that before. When they were specing out PS4, the technology in PS4 was 5 years old already, even before it was released. That's not the case with the series console. Go ahead.
In the chat, Lucius Augustus says RDNA 3 is going to be insane. I was going to say it's already in the PS5 right now. What are you talking about, sir?
Stop it.
They've got RDNA 5. It's well ahead of the game.
But you know what I'm saying? Like from a platform building perspective, they need to rely on the fact that the hardware is always many revisions behind what's tip of the spear. Otherwise, they can't make as much money from it, right? And now I would say maybe in 7 years, if they reiterate, by then the Series X and the PS5 will be way low down the scale that, okay, it will work. But today, there is no way they can get away with that. In addition to the chip shortage, right? So I don't foresee any mid-gen refreshes coming out.
I think another thing to factor in is, they are kind of, and maybe you've said this in different words, but they're losing money on these things when they package up a PS5 and a Series X. And so you have to amortize that cost over time with software sales.
That's right.
And so if you are just updating the hardware for updating the hardware's sake, you could run into trouble.
That's where Nintendo shines brightly, right? They do not update the hardware, even though we know they need to at this point. They're still like, hey, if we release Breath of the Wild 2 right now on our Abacus hardware, will you play it? Everborn Saga's like, yes, give me please. So why should they upgrade the hardware? Why?
But
right? Because now all that hardware is just pure revenue for them. They never have to pay in because that thing has been dusty hardware since 15, 14.
But again, if you're not really changing the architecture going forward, can't you just do spec bumps and have a reason to sell people more hardware that's not the same as the sunk costs from developing the architecture to begin with?
But that's where you get the Steam Deck, and you don't like that, right? If in the world you're describing, you can definitely do that. But then you get Steam Deck, where they let you change the dials to where your hardware level meets it, because it's not about us profiling it for you. It's not about us making it just turnkey for you. Hey, you may have this version, somebody else may have that version, so we'll allow you to up and down the dial, and that not everybody's happy with that. You wouldn't want that. Many people don't like that. They just want to turn it on, it hits 60, and they move forward. And in order to do that, they must profile it, optimize it, and lock it down just for that hardware. So if they actually release versions, even if it's exactly the same hardware but better GPU, then they must go back in and reprofile and then relock it down, which more sunk cost that they don't want to do. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Yeah. Unless they open the world up to Steam Deck land.
By the way.
Well, we went on this tangent because that's the world we live in.
I blame slow-mo. That's it.
No, so long story short, and let's be absolutely clear before we move on from this point. This is not to say that PS5 is bad or Xbox is bad or this and that. This proves to me that the developers that are on the platform side are genius level creators beyond compare, because any of them can take the old dusty pieces of crap hardware by the technical standard of it and churn out a game that will make you pay $70 in a heartbeat. They can do that today, and they'll continue doing that for 7+ years to come, right? That just tells you that they're just great at what they do, right? If they had more resources, could they do more? Sure, but we've never even seen a card used for its full capabilities, unless you're talking about Star Citizen, which still has not released yet. You know what I'm saying? You'll never get the hardware used to its fullest capability, so you just need to rely on the fact that, hey, Insomniac are geniuses. And even if you give them a calculator, they'll make whatever they're making shine on that, right? Only the few techies like us are sitting there bemoaning can we get rid of the spinning discs already, please? Can we stop messing with these old Jaguar CPUs, please? You know, we are the ones complaining about that. Doesn't really translate one-to-one to games, right?
We need to get rid of disk drives. I said it.
Yeah,
I said it.
So, you know,
I mean,
now,
technically,
that's an interesting
disk
point.
drives themselves are just a DRM.
Yeah, all it is just a hex key on the
you
chip.
You have to download it anyway. It's just like this is your proof.
No,
yeah,
exactly.
Get it out of there, man.
No, see, so as far as revisions are concerned in the future, I can foresee a world where the Series S might get a bump, right? And a memory bump at that, because that's been a complaint from devs for a while, right? They might get a memory bump. That's still odd, because Microsoft even themselves said at the Hot Chips event that they see that RAM ain't going to get cheaper.
Do you foresee a point in time where PlayStation and Xbox become slightly modular?
See, that's an interesting world that I want to live in.
You already have it on the SSD front on both Xbox and PlayStation to different degrees. PlayStation allow third party, Xbox have proprietary. But do you foresee a point in time where you could potentially upgrade the RAM?
Where you could just switch out your GPU or your RAM?
So the problem with that, I think, is they're doing these entire this kind of whole system on a chip where you have the CPU and the GPU on this one thing. So I don't know that they're ever going to let us change that, but I could see them allowing us to add more memory, right?
I mean, look, in the PC world, you can do that today in the PC world, right? But that would require opening up the software. That's what it would require.
It's the same right now, laptops. I was going to say
exactly. I was just about to bring that up. Plug in a USB-C.
You can change the SSD. You can change the RAM, and that's it.
That's right.
You can't change the internal GPU. It's impossible.
Yeah. And and I see the conversation is really lively in the chat. Shout out to Lucius Augustus. I see you, Chia Walker, in the chat. You know, Victor Alistine, thank you guys so much. As always coming in here and making the conversation even better. You know, they're back and forth on it right now. Go ahead.
Speaking of the Series S being shrunk down, I think they talked about that on Xbox 2 with Rand and Jez.
Series S is a Steam Deck, literally, right now. That's what it is.
The thing is, for them to do a mobile SKU, there's a debate of whether it would be cloud only or have native games. And I think we'll get to a place. Hold on a minute, though. I think you wait a couple of years when you can shrink the Series S hardware down to something that would fit in a Steam Deck.
But you can now. Like if you check the Series S, if you check the Series X spec for spec right now, it's literally that. That's what it is.
It's not though. But it's not.
Where's the Series S or Steam Deck deficient in any way? It's literally the same hardware.
How many teraflops is the Steam Deck?
Yeah, but that's the difference though. The T-flops equal the output. And this output is dedicated to that small screen.
No,
that's
I understand
the only difference.
But I understand that. But what I'm saying is you don't want to give developers another SKU they have to develop for. So if the hardware 100%. Is the same and they can do and profiling for the Series S is profiling for this mobile thing, which I think you can get there.
That's not true. That part is not. That's where the differences lie. Even like, and we'll take this. This is exactly the same example, right? Take the NVIDIA Shield and the Nintendo Switch. Literally the same device. One is plugged into a wall. The other one is the Switch in your hand. The Shield will always be better because they don't have to worry about voltages, about battery. They're literally direct connected to the house, and that's why the Shield, even as old as it is, can always output games a little bit better than the Switch can, right? So even if you have like for like hardware, as long as one is meant to be mobile and one is meant to be,
but that is all going to depend. Like we will have revisions.
Your CPU clocks will matter and all of that.
We will have revisions of how many nanometers the chipset is in. What do you call it? And when you shrink the nanometers, you shrink the power draw, and you can do different things on the mobile side. I just think that if they are ever going to do a handheld, I don't think you can do a cloud only handheld and sell that to people.
No, especially not in the States. Like that will not work.
Right. Like, so once they're able to have shrink down the size of components needed for the Series S, I think you can tell developers, hey, your Series S profile games will work here with no work on your behalf, right? And when they can do that, then I think, and if they can't do that, then they won't do a mobile device. But I think that's the only way you see one. I
agree with you on that. Point on battery power, though. You take a look at even the Nintendo Switch. The battery life on that is horrific. Horrific.
Exactly.
Your best part maybe 2 hours on a big game, and it's cripping low.
Yes. No, 100%. And that is the reason why Steam Deck does what they do. They leave it in your hands because if they profile it and they lock it down, you're getting 90 minutes if you're lucky. Which but if you know what you're doing, you can go in, tweak it a little bit, and then you can make that battery last longer. Battery life is the fact of the equation. That is the number one reason why I don't foresee them doing a handheld, right? Because I don't like you, Everborn. I don't see them doing a handheld that's totally solely cloud, because then you're beholden to internet speeds, and that's terrible. And on the flip side, I don't foresee them doing a handheld because to give you the throughput you need, the battery life will be dust. It'll be just ridiculous, right? They want to be able to sustain you, so I don't think they enter that market at all. I don't think so. And Steam can do it because they can put the power in your hands.
You've got to think the way PlayStation did it last time as well is they then end up with an entirely different storefront and releasing games specifically for the hardware,
different UI, different like platform.
I don't think they want to. I don't think they want to.
I don't think they want to deal with that.
But I do think we could get to a place where there are 4 SKUs: the cloud box, the entry level S, high end X, and a mobile device. But it would have to utilize the whatever the entry level hardware is, because you don't want developers having to target.
And to your point about the cloud box, here we go. Thank you for the transition, because we've gotten confirmation once again. Now, let's be honest, this is not a real news story, but it keeps hitting for some reason. Phil Spencer, before we even got the Series X in our hands, said in an interview, we're working on it. We're working on something that can just be directly connected, in addition to working with TV partners to get the app on there for those TVs who probably can adhere to the hardware standard. They're also working on a puck of some kind to be able to plug underneath your TV for the purposes. And now once again, they've reiterated that they're doing so. But what's odd to me in this news story is, unfortunately, they're still kind of a ways away. I suspect they really want to hit that critical mass where it's cheap enough that it can be a stocking stuffer, but for them, maybe Wi-Fi 6 radios, maybe gigabit Ethernet connections, things that make the throughput the best it can be on your device while still making it cheap as heck. And I don't think they've gotten the sauce quite right yet, because they'll also probably have to include a controller, which itself is what, $60 retail, right? And you don't want to make this thing over $100. So I honestly think that's probably why they're still ideating and haven't released anything yet. What do you think, Dutch?
Yeah, I mean, I think it depends. It depends on their aims as well. I think what they have to look for specifically with the dongle is future. And we're talking about Wi-Fi 6, etc. But that's again, as we've spoke about other technology, that's also going to be, by the time they release this thing, they've got to think about future iterations of Wi-Fi capabilities. So they have to think about...
when it comes to Wi-Fi, though, to be fair, I think if you put, there are companies today releasing Wi-Fi 5 radio devices, even though 6 is still the mainstay at this point anyway. They'll get away with that.
Yeah,
but I think other tech that they use to try to lessen the latency, and they've done a lot in software with the latency for sure. I've seen it, But I think they don't want to depend on the TV makers for their hardware, because it's always less than. So that's why I'm thinking
smart TVs are
still in the middle of
dog pile. Smart TVs are super slow. I mean, God, somebody tell these manufacturers to update their capabilities within these smart TVs, because they're unbearably slow.
Exactly.
And it shouldn't be like that now. There's even technology from 2 years ago, 3 years ago, 4 years ago, would be faster than the stuff they put in these TVs.
And they don't care, because all they care about is the image you see on your screen. They don't care if you have a what do you call it, Bluetooth 4 or whatever. That doesn't matter to them. All you're using is for the remote anyway. But the minute you pair a phone, a controller to it, you go with your latency.
Let alone, I mean, God help us when you want to actually try and use any kind of Bluetooth orientated speakers or surround sound system that is such a pain to set up. And if you're with LG,
and then you put it on, your lips
LG
don't match the movement because there's delay. It's just it's a pain in the butt.
With LG as well, with LG, it only locks down their own products to be always connected. Any other product you have to reconnect every time. And it's such a pain in the arse.
So I think,
but with the dongle thing, I think it's mainly they're having to figure out. Okay, we need, first of all, xCloud needs to be at a point where it is absolutely streaming and is the best quality it can be, which is why I think this project's been pushed back a little bit more. It's not quite there yet. It's definitely getting much better. If you 100%. Play it on PC, it is the ultimate form.
It's great on PC. Yeah,
it's on PC. The ultimate form is tremendous. Even playing it on the Xbox directly, the cloud streaming is perfect. But playing it on mobile, not so much. And you've got to think this particular dongle is going to be more of the mobile-orientated version. So you need to have that in order first. So I think That plus also they'll be looking at, okay, what kind of mobile hardware do we technically need in this dongle to be able to have the power and the capabilities for it to stream as best it can. And then, of course, making sure that the input latency then for the controllers, which they've done a lot of work on, is also unmatched. Potentially then look at things like, okay, do we put an Ethernet port in the back of this thing? Do we just have it fully wireless? Do we
I think Ethernet is necessary. I think Ethernet is necessary.
You would think so. Yeah. You would think so, but there's a lot of companies and a lot of these dongles are non-Ethernet. They're all wireless. So if you're talking streaming games, however, I think it's pretty much a necessity. And then you've got to think of, right, okay, so do we have USB ports for controllers? Do we have the Ethernet ports? What kind of audio inputs and audio requirements do we have for this thing? How many controllers can we attach at any one time? Is it going to be good enough for playing multiplayer games? Because again, when you're doing this, which is something that'll probably roll out with mobile phone contracts and TVs and given away with a lot of these different contract agreements and things that are everywhere, it's going to have to be at the point where you can play multiplayer games on the cloud and be next to no difference.
I will say, I did that with Halo Infinite over the weekend, Steam Deck. Halo Infinite multiplayer, and I didn't play it natively because I can do that now. I put Windows 11 on it, but I did it through, and it was unusually responsive. And shout out to Pixelbit G, the Canary update where they're kind of putting some sauce into the browser to make xCloud run better. It really does seem to be getting the job done. When we say it's not quite there yet, it's because it's not there for every scenario. Right.
Yeah,
if you're an iOS
version, the website version, the app, the browser version for Edge, etc., is brilliant.
It's brilliant.
When you take it out of that and use it through the app, not so much.
There's still a lot that's out of their control that they should be controlling in order for it to become what it is now, right? Yeah. So as good as it's gotten, go ahead, Everborn. I know you want to say something.
To that end, this is like I was saying to you on the phone the other day. You only have one shot at this, right? Cloud, by definition, is for the casuals, right?
Yep. And Stadia has already given the black eye once on that.
So you and I can look at this stuff and we'll give it a chance because we know the tech is so cool, right? And we'll just try it out. But if you want the casual to use this and their first experience is judders and latency and all those all those things that happen, they will look at it and then say it's trash and then never look at it again.
It's that Windows 95 effect. Windows sucks because Windows 95 does. We're in 2022.
I was going to say as well, for the dongle, you would have to, it can't, and this is one thing that I will say as well, it cannot only be Xbox Cloud, it has to be the full Xbox Home version. Like you have the home screen, you have the ability to go onto apps like YouTube and WhatsApp.
Right. It should be able to play.
It has to be more robust.
Right. And okay, this is what I was saying. Like it needs to be an Apple TV competitor.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
So you are going to position this thing as a set-top box where you can watch your Netflix and Amazon Primes and all those things. And then have the cloud app. Quietly. Right, exactly. Right. So that's the way. You don't position this as just a streaming stick. This is a media box with that's kind of focused on gaming. So the if you can, and it should have the same OS. Right.
Same front end OS. Anyway.
Right. Same front end OS as your Series X and Series S.
That's right. To keep the continuity.
Run all those apps, any apps that you already have on your Xbox. You can bring your home screen over, do all those things. But again, for this to work, I really think they also have to work out the licensing with purchasing games. And being
they were there during the Xbox One gen. They just didn't follow through. They know what to do with that
purchasing games and allowing them to be played in the cloud.
Well, but remember, just like cloud saves were the beginning transition to now xCloud, where everything's in the cloud. The idea that you could have the digital rights of even physical games, like they tried to introduce in the Xbox One gen, but was poo-pooed. Had that gone all the way in, that would have led to where we're going now. And since that was not allowed to shine, that's why you now see where they're thinking of adding external hardware devices to make your Series S play games, to play Series S play discs, or you can take your Series S, take an old disc and then transfer that license and make it digital. They're trying to get back to that so that they can go down the path that you're describing right now, where your digital license becomes your digital license, whether you have a subscription or not.
I think those things need to be worked out before you put this thing out, and it's not a dongle, right? I really think they're going to position this thing, yes, as an Apple TV competitor, but also as just another console that happens
another
to
console
be cloud
you could just
native.
play. That's right. Now, before we continue on, I see Jigga J is in here working to be our palate cleanser. Microsoft needs to buy Sega immediately after the ABK deal is done and have Sonic in the cloud.
1,000%. Let's get this.
Let's think about that for a moment.
We need to have Jigga J as a guest next week
to expound on it on those points. That's right.
You need to get Herdog Vin on this
so
as
much
well.
For all the people that are here right now.
Vin and Everborn would just be absolutely over the moon. Vin is
bro,
Sega.
The
Sega
day
stand
that
1,000.
Sega deal happens, I'm gonna make sure Everborn's out there. I'm gonna ask Lord Cognito to come on. All the K Mega, John Wolf. I'm just gonna sit there, turn it on, chew my popcorn, and watch the world burn. It's gonna be amazing. Can't wait. It's gonna be fantastic.
You mother effers are gonna hate me if that happens.
It's gonna be fantastic, like, for sure. But yes, let's head towards our main story of this week. But before I do, I want to thank everybody that's still in the chat. We have almost 60 people here. If you haven't hit the like button yet, please consider doing so. If you haven't subscribed to the channel yet, please think about doing that as we head our way towards 1,000 subscribers by the end of this year. We will be, and a quick side note, while the Dutch is in the house, our champion in the center square, we're going to be thinking about possibly doing some giveaways and whatnot in the near future with the 1,000 subscribers looming. Maybe some custom interesting work will be coming down. And as we do around here, we don't do anything half-assed. It's going to be some really cool stuff. So please consider subscribing and continue being a part of our community. But let us transition to the topic that I really wanted to discuss this week. And it's kind of part of all this narrative that we've been talking about, right? And it's not specifically, Xbox's delays or PlayStation, what's it looking like for 2022, which Everborn brought up really poignantly a little while ago. Actually, it was Everborn that led me down this path, because as I said, I've been speaking to a few people in the community, and specifically I had a conversation with Everborn about it, and he's kind of at a place, and I'll let you expound on it, Everborn, but basically related to me that there's burnout at this point, right? Because you start on this high and people are enjoying themselves and this is going to be a great year. Then all of a sudden the roller coaster starts, right? And it's coming and it's not coming. And you put all they were going to do this and now nothing's coming out. And here you are in a world where, like you guys have said, what's Sony releasing in 2023, right? Xbox looks like they have killer games coming out, but they looked that way last year too. And then a bunch of them got delayed, right? Some of them through no fault of their own. Others, I would say, kind of their fault, right? And it looks like, to me anyway, and that's a conversation for after June, but to me, it seems like they need help putting the pieces in place and possibly getting plan Bs and plan Cs ready when your plan A fails. We don't know where that rests, right? But because of all of that, you're cultivating your consumers. You're getting them hyped up. You're giving them all this, hey, it's going to be amazing next year. It's going to be amazing the rest of this year. Trust us. Join our subscription service. And then you're putting on this roller coaster ride of it's coming, it's not, it's coming, it's not, it's terrible, all this. Eventually, people get burned out, and they don't even want to play anymore, right? I've heard Randall Thor 19, a friend of the community in the show, speak similarly to the point where he's like, screw it. And then for X amount of months, all he's doing is reading books. He drops gaming for a while, right? So, Everborn, I want you to expound on this a little bit. Maybe I'm wrong. Is it because of all the various news ups and downs? Is it obviously life happens?
For me, it's a little different than that. Than the way, and all those things you said are true, and I think they do play a factor in that.
Yes.
In that there's nothing noteworthy out right now, but the June show is coming and all that. But for me, when I talked about the burnout, I almost think it was like the Twitter burnout, right? It is because I try to be a man of the people. I try to be in the Twitter streets, but
man of the people, he says.
I'm just experiencing this burnout of the same people arguing about the same shit.
It's coming. It's gone. They got no games. They're Monopoly.
It's just like I don't know. It's just like I feel like people just use, and this goes in the film community also, but they just use these communities as a way to find differences and fight about them, and people come there for an outlet. And then in terms of damn,
man, I'm sorry. Okay. All right.
You see
I'm sorry. Continue.
Sonic 2 was better than Doom. But the point is, so just the discourse has had me disheartened, huh? Right? And that's the discourse side of it. But games wise, like we had this mega, like I played a lot of games last year, right? And there were a lot of good games that came out last year.
Yep.
And games wise, this year, there was Elden Ring, which kind of took the world by storm, and I haven't finished that. I haven't finished that game yet, but I just have not had the urge to go back and finish it, and I will not go to. I have a few hours in some other games, but like I want to go to Tunic and I want to go to Trek to Yomi, but I don't want to leave Elden Ring, because if I leave Elden Ring, I'll never go back to it. Because onboarding takes days in that game, right?
And shout out to you for that criticism you made before. It's still valid today in a world where you have a subscription service that's throwing so many games at you. Y'all need to figure out this onboarding stuff. What if I stop playing for a couple of weeks? Get me back in.
Right. And
something needs to be done from that.
So I'm just not in the, and again, this is also partly because we have this whole deck project that we're doing. And I just got the shipping confirmation for the 7-person hot tub we ordered. So that's coming soon.
Listen to this man out here.
But
which you're going to have to install yourself.
Yes.
Oh boy. We want to see pictures.
I got a whole contraption. I should have been blogging this, but anyway, I don't know if anybody else goes through this, but I'm like, going back to Elden Ring feels like a chore so that I can get to the other thing, and I just don't have the urge, nor am I excited to play some of these other things, and I do feel like the will she or won't she of whether God of War Ragnarok is coming out, and the deflation of Starfield, and again, this elephant in the room that's stopping me from playing some of the indie games I want to play. I just don't care. I found myself the last 2 weeks, maybe I played Elden Ring for an hour. Like, I don't know, man. I'm not feeling it. And maybe it's the lack of news. Maybe whatever it is, I don't know. I don't. So
I mentioned him on the show already, but once again, shout out to Pong Soul who coined the term. He's a grazer, and I think you should become a grazer yourself. I think that might help you. I'm somewhat of a grazer myself as well. You've seen some of the indie gems that from time to time make my list and I start playing. I honestly think that palette cleansers might help you, because the way you're playing, and this is just my opinion on based on what you're saying now, the way you're playing, where you're no lifing a game, well, this is what I have to play, and then eventually the game becomes a chore, and you feel like you need to keep playing it in order to then move on to another. It's okay to just have enough of what you got and then move on. And if another one doesn't entice you, move on again.
I mean, I did that with Fallen Order.
Exactly. Like, you can do that and then maybe go back if you feel the need to. You don't have to. It's not like you've signed a contract that says you're no longer allowed to touch another game until you finish this one, right? I know that mentally some people really want to.
Because I've sent them the contract. It's
but you know what I'm saying? Like,
hey,
what do you
think, slow-mo. I actually feel a certain kind of way about that. If I wouldn't let Kei Asante help me beat Streets of Rage 4, there's no way I'm going to have slow-mo holding over my head.
My God.
I had to come in and help you beat this game. I would never live it down.
See, the difference is, though, I would just be like, yo, it was a fun game playing that game.
I don't know.
Slow-mo would clown you on a daily.
I don't know that I believe you, K-Sante. I think you would be right there with the Streets of Rage slander.
Well, you know what? Real quick, before we continue down this path,
it would be slow-mo living vicariously through you, saying you couldn't beat Streets of Rage, so you had to
him, right?
K-Sante to help you. So no,
okay. Before we continue, and this is related, but I want to bring this up because Slow and Forte had this debate on DPS, and I think it's worth mentioning it here. Okay, do we still
before you get into that live supremacy, live supremacy, Sonic Frontiers? I think that'll bring me back. I think I'll be hype out there again.
See, and that to me is a very bold statement you make because their track record is not great.
I believe highlight live supremacy's coming. I believe in this game. There's
you have no reason to because their track record is back and forth.
I have every reason to. Statistically, there's a good Sonic game every 10 years. So
what you're saying is the broken clock is right twice a day, so it's about time.
The broken clock is right every decade, and we're right at that decade mark. That's all I'm saying.
Oh my God! Listen to Slow-Mo. Absolutely. So okay.
You see what I'm talking about?
It's going to be us laughing.
Now you understand. Now you understand why I don't take help.
I understand. Here's my question. Okay, Forte and Slow have been going back and forth on it, as you and I have, Everborn, and I will let you tell me your opinion on it as well, Dutch. Do you think right now, today, with all the details we know, is Ragnarok coming this year?
I have a bet with Xbox University that it won't come this year, and if it does, I have to buy it for him. So I'm hoping that it doesn't. But I made that bet months ago, right?
And every week, when one game is delayed, and then you have this dude saying, "Well, it's coming," and it looks like where are we? Like they recently released an accessibility trailer, which. You can say that means it's coming, but right until the moment that Starfield and Redfall were delayed, there were ads of it coming literally 5 minutes before it. So just because the marketing machine hasn't stopped doesn't mean that it's guaranteed to release.
Well, again, remember Sony are strategists and they ultimately like controlling the conversation without saying much.
Exactly.
So them not saying anything is not evidence of it not coming. I would argue in their samurai moves, they are going to wait for Microsoft to attack in the June showcase. And then right after
Slow-Mo Backslap just pointed out, it's rated in Korea now.
That means nothing. But again, I think that we will get the date that it is coming this year, right after the Xbox show, where they show you that all of the good Xbox games aren't coming till 2023. And then Sony says, boom, we got a good game for you coming in 2022.
And it's coming on 11/11/22.
And that's why you haven't heard about it, because they're strategically holding back the date.
Waiting for it. Okay.
But again, the marketing cycle is going to be very short, right? So you're not showing the game. You can't do commercials about the game. You can't do any of that stuff.
Well, but come on, this is Ragnarok. Like it's already in the bag, right? PC people know about it because of the last version, and console people loved it. So
I know
it can handle less of a hype.
That means they're trying something new with their marketing. Every game that they market, there would be billboards by now. You would see it everywhere, and you don't.
Okay.
So
I see what you mean on that. Okay.
I do think that they're trying something new with the marketing, and I think I'm going to owe University a game. I hope that I'm wrong, or I hope that I was right and that I don't owe them a game. But based on today,
I hope you're wrong.
I think that they push the game out, and they wait to announce it until after the June Xbox show, and they use it as a part of their hype cycle.
I also think it's going to be delayed, but I'll win if it isn't, because I was a massive God of War fan. Loved the last one. Platinumed it within 5 days of its release last year, in 2018. Loved the game. I still expect it to be next year. Now, I think more on the marketing side, Sony like to have that that elongated marketing strategy for their games, where they're kind of talking about it months and months in advance. And unless they're dropping this thing coming in hot in December, they're gonna. And I've mentioned this before. I think they need to set that release date in June, July. If they don't, and they haven't spoke about it in June, July.
Oh, true. Yeah. If we don't hear, if July comes and goes and we haven't heard any more about its release, then it's not coming.
I think there's going to be a PlayStation showcase in July, and that's where they drop the date.
Sure. No, I won't.
It's going to be God of War Ragnarok release date and a bunch of service games. That's what that's
the good thing. I don't get us wrong. I don't want it to be delayed. I just think
me neither. If it is delayed, then what do we have for the rest of the year?
I want to play it. I love the first one, so I can't wait to play the second one. In this particular series, I'm still a bit salty that they've capped short the Norse mythology into just 2 games and not continue to make it a trilogy. Sure. But yeah, I think they ended that too quick. I think he has Ragnarok. Well, he has God of War in Norse. That was awesome the way they set it up. And then they went straight to Ragnarok, which is the end of days. So as soon as it was the second one, I was like a bit salty that it's only 2 games. Apparently it's bigger than 2018. I.e. in terms of content, it's more content. Sure. It's a longer game. So we'll see what comes of it. Are they going to have the side stuff like they did in the first one that elongates it more when you've got to take out the Valkyrie? Are you going to have collectibles like you did in the first one, where you're going to go and find all the flying birds and smash them in midair and things like that? Or are you going to have these realms that you can go to, which are completely optional, like the Mist Realm, where you have to go there for a section, but to get the best armor in the game, you have to really grind through the Mist Realm like you did to get the full armor set. It's things that we have no idea about of the game yet. Like they've showed just a very quick sequence so far. Oh, this is Ragnarok. Here's a little bit of the gameplay so far, but we know nothing of it. We know nothing about the game really. We know a couple of the new characters, but yeah, I'm standing firm by if we haven't heard about it by end of July, then it isn't this year.
I'm with you, 100% with you on that. Yeah. So okay. Let's head back to our main story before we round this episode out. We'll keep this a tight episode this week, but yeah, as you guys have been chatting, for the video watchers, you've seen me scrolling through basically what has been officially announced and the stuff that we think we're going to see. And the pickings are still slim, man. Hopefully, as we've already alluded to, that June show and the June and July showcases of all various sources really shed some light onto what is looking like. It's going to be a very dry year, if not. There's a lot of to be announced, release dates to be announced games. There's a lot of them there, but still, none of them is really at that high caliber that people are super, super, super excited for. Like me personally, I have some excitements that I have in here. Like I see Evil West, and I'm excited because I think Evil West is a really interesting looking game. I can't wait to play that. But let's be honest, that seems like a AA game playing it with a AAA budget a little bit. And I like that kind of stuff. It gives room for creativity. If it's high AAA, they usually don't allow for too much going off the beaten path. So I think this will be very interesting. I'm looking for games
shout out to J-Mo Money, and he is absolutely right.
Shredder and Cowabunga
gonna save
100%
2022.
100%. I'm there for that. Go ahead. What else do you see that might bring you back?
I told you,
Sonic Frontiers.
Sonic Frontiers. Y'all think I'm joking,
bro?
Did you see how many clips I shared from Generations when I was playing it?
I want you to be right, but their track record has given me pause. I want to be wrong. I want you to be right because hey, they're about due. But the last good Sonic game, the last most recent Sonic game, was not made by not made by the Sonic team. Right? And
that's the side scroller. Yeah, exactly. I rate those separately. But listen, again, I'm telling you better hope that it's not good, because hope it is good. With all the smack you and Slow Mo and J-Mo Money, and Mr. Joanna Dark been giving me, if this game is good, I feel sorry for all of you.
You're gonna be salty.
There will be hell to pay.
There'll be blood in the streets, I'm sure.
I'm telling you, man. No, but so I think for this year, barring Ragnarok, because I think obviously that's going to have me back. Sonic Frontiers, obviously. TMNT, obviously. I don't much care for Scorn. Mm-hmm. Like, I'm gonna play it because it's in Game Pass, but it
looks very interesting.
But it looks disgusting and at the same time boring.
Sounds disgusting.
I don't know about boring. Have you played the trailer, the demo?
I haven't played the demo. I've watched the trailer. It just doesn't.
The demo was so gross that you just couldn't sit through it. It was just like, ooh. I don't know if you ever saw. Did you ever play the original Prey? Like, not the new Prey but like OG Prey. They used to have these doors. Oh yeah, I played it on PC, but it was during the 360 generation. Yes.
Yeah,
they used to have these doors that were like buttholes that opened. Forgive me. And the whole Scorn reminds me of that door, those doors, and like the walls would like pulsate and have like veins on them and stuff. I'm just like,
so hold on. That original Prey that has nothing to do with Arcane's Prey, right?
Absolutely, and there was a Prey 2 that they were working on that never got greenlit, and then ZeniMax bought the IP and re-released Prey as something else. I love both.
So it is the same IP.
It's the same IP, completely two different takes on it. They took the name, made something different, even though one existed already.
Interesting, because
and I played both of them.
I didn't play
the OG Prey was about you're a Native Indian on a reservation. You're at a bar, you're hanging out, and then aliens invade, and you spend the whole time trying to escape and trying to find your girl.
I remember that. I remember that now.
Oh, such a great game. And then I heard that the ZeniMax got. I'm like, they're gonna give us a Prey 2 in that world. No, although I did love what they did too, because Arcane is brilliant at what they do. But I still love the OG damn better.
Bubble gun.
With the bubble gun, yes, that's right.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, no, I did not play
Plague Tale. No one's mentioned Plague Tale Requiem, which is out this year.
Well, they better update the combat on that because
Oh
yeah, it's 100%.
If they do not, like, I love the story in that game. Mm-hmm. I hate the kid. I can't remember his name. All I remember is him crying for Amicia. But those canned animations of the attacks, I never felt like I had agency.
Freaking slingshots.
Somebody's right next to you. They're 2 inches away. I can't dodge. I got to throw a
dude is 7 foot. He's like the mountain from Game of Thrones. He's completely armored from top to toe. And you find with your slingshot a place in his armor to hit that rock. Get the heck out of here, man.
No, but it's worse than that. It's like if they get close to me, I can't dodge. I can't do anything. Yeah. You just have to watch the same animation play out
and then you die.
It's just like, I get it. It's like a stealth game, but like if it's
Big Bad Mo is asking why you don't like Hugo. Mo, does that mean you ain't got kids? Because if you have kids, you understand why we don't like Hugo.
Why don't you like Hugo?
He's an annoying piece of
That's like asking why don't you like Atreus in God of War? Like, exactly. What are we doing here?
Same thing. I was like, get rid of that little piece of.
They should do like a team up game with Hugo and Atreus.
And all you do is just beat on them all day.
Oh my god!
Both of them just whinging from start to finish.
Sons of
but okay, so you're not too keen on Scorn. I hear you on that, right?
All right. What else 100%. Do I got? So give me some other ones.
Oh, I'm sorry. Jigga J said it, so I got to do it. Boy, let's continue. Yes. What else you got? Skull and Bones.
Never heard of it.
Never heard of it. It was supposed to be like the real.
Oh, this.
Let's just forget that thing exists now, shall we?
Oh, right. I remember that they were making like a fake Sea of Thieves. Okay, I remember.
Well, they were making a quote unquote gritty Sea of Thieves. Yeah,
looks even worse than the last time.
Yeah,
if they called it Black Sails, I would have considered it. I don't know if you guys remember that show.
Too, but then they'd have to make it an RPG and memorable characters in it, which that's
all right. So what else we got? Second Extinction, no.
Second Extinction came and left a bad taste in people's mouth, even in game preview.
What about that game with Vin Diesel?
Still got Avatar. Still got Hogwarts.
Yeah, we have Avatar, which. We're not sure. It might be cool because there's a lot of that movie lent itself to games because there are.
Did you guys see the new trailer for that?
Yeah,
which is awesome. Very disappointing. I expected
really
higher heights.
I didn't think
I disagree. I disagree.
Me personally, I expected it to be a lot more impactful because I watched it at the beginning of.
Why? Because the story was so deep on the original. What are you talking about, man?
No. That's not what I mean. I mean, it needs to be more impactful because since it's came and gone, it has been like by and large the biggest movie ever made, and MCU kind of like shoves it out the way, then it shoves back. Like it's been monstrous. Its impact.
It took like 20 movies for the MCU to build up to just approaching that box office.
And I feel like maybe it's not the movie's fault or the trailer's fault, but like since it's been in the zeitgeist, it's gotten so big that there's just no way it could have lived up to expectations. I think the trailer should have hit a bit higher for me personally. Doesn't mean I'm not going to see it. I'm definitely going to see it.
It's the most viewed trailer of all time, but sure.
Is it like the new one is the most viewed trailer of all time? Yeah, that is hilarious.
This is the thing. I think that like
a mega hit.
I don't think people understand how big it is because they haven't
Ham
been
Solo Gaming. Forgive me, gentlemen. Salute to Ham Solo for being here. He did an awesome interview with one of the workers at Digital Foundry. If you haven't checked it, you definitely should. Awesome work there, man. Thank you for joining us. Yes, continue. I'm sorry, everyone.
No, I was saying like because we live in this what have you done lately society, right? I think people many times underestimate the excitement around Avatar, right? Yeah. Because the MCU has to keep your attention every couple of months. They have to give you something.
So
right?
the reason why I think the rose is a bit off the bloom with Avatar is because it was tied so closely to the 3D tech. And now people clown 3D by and large, right?
Avatar in itself just looks phenomenal.
It does.
Nobody clowns Avatar when they talk about 3D. It's all the people chasing Avatar.
Sure.
And so I fully expect there to be a technological leap that will push this in people's minds. And it could be the 3D.
That's what I was looking for.
Take 3D, but you can't see that from a YouTube trailer, right?
Well, no. I didn't see it.
You saw it in Doctor Strange.
I saw it at Doctor Strange on IMAX. So if you were going to show me something, I had the glasses on. That's when you should have showed me something. And I did see something.
You saw it in IMAX 3D?
Yeah. I saw. Well, this is Doctor Strange. How else would you see it?
The best 3D iteration I've seen was by and large Avatar: Flights of Passage at Disney World.
Yes, I've seen that too. That is amazing.
Well, so
the best use of the tech.
Another thing to consider is when Avatar came out, they had to upgrade the projectors and things like that, right? So
which
it could
I
be
doubt they'll do now.
We don't know that. But I mean, if he's taking the technology forward, it could be that the trailer is not giving you the full effect.
It's not giving you, which of course.
But again, anybody doubting James Cameron, the person who brought us Terminator, Titanic, and Avatar. I'm not taking that bet. That's all I'm saying.
And let's be clear. This is not me doubting him. This is me saying for a guy, for a movie franchise and a guy of his caliber, because I agree with all points, I expect it to be a bit more whiz bang pow on the trailer, and it was a bit subdued.
I think you'll see. I think the second trailer you might get a bit more whiz bang pow. Even if you have a look at the first, if you have a look at the first trailers for everything these days, even the first trailer for Thor: Love and Thunder, that wasn't whiz bang pow. That was
more
comedy.
Subdued. You're right. You're absolutely right. Absolutely.
And then the second trailer was like, here's introducing Lady Thor. And it was, and then it was going from there. So you know what I mean, and that was a little bit more action and seeing a little bit more fighting and.
Indeed. So since the Halo TV show is now waiting for season 2, this short trailer segment is your On the Reel minute. Let us wait for Everborn Saga to bring back On the Reel properly. But until then, let us move back to our gaming conversation.
Well, last thing, Iron Mike says he also brought us Aliens, but that was a sequel to Alien, which was a Ridley Scott movie. So he made it. Transitioned.
That's your cap.
Yeah, he has transitioned Alien to from a sci-fi horror to sci-fi action with Aliens. And again, two completely different movies, also two masterpieces. In my opinion.
And yes, Alien is better than Aliens, but we'll move on from there real quick. Let's round this episode out. Because like I have been on the wait till June train for a long time now with all of these game releases and announcements and this and that. But let's take June out of the equation. Let's assume that nothing of note is released, and all we have is what we see here, and all the release dates that we have are what exists. And if you don't have a trailer for it, a release date for it, then it's not coming, right? And we can say that even in this thought experiment, we can even levy onto Horizon, what do you call it, Ragnarok as well, right? In that world, are we all burnt out? Are we all like, screw it, hands in the air, let's throw it out because there's really not much else to show? Or is there hope somewhere? Like we've already mentioned, Shredder, the Shredder and Cowabunga collection, and we've mentioned a few gems here and there. Evil West is looking interesting.
Is Callisto
it enough
Protocol
to sustain?
this year?
I'm sorry?
Is Callisto Protocol this year?
I don't think so. Is it?
It is, yeah.
It is. We're
and we haven't seen any gameplay from it yet. That's interesting.
Snippet, actually, they have released snippets. They keep showing little bits. They're teasing it slowly.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that's definitely something I'm looking forward to.
Mm-hmm.
Although I don't know that I appreciate they killed the black guy in the trailer. I'm like, damn, we can't even make it out the trailer now. But, Jesus Christ.
And Beast Mode is asking, are we using the word burnout wrong? What I mean by burnout is the hype cycle coming against you. And I'm not talking about the game either, because that would be great return.
Right.
It's souring on the hype cycle, the up and down of the hype cycle. Them either releasing, them either being delayed, or they release and they are not what you thought they were. It's the back and forth of the hype cycle. It's a back and forth on the discourse, as Everborn has said in Twitter about gaming. It's enough to make you go, enough, put the controller down. Let me go touch grass, as the kids say, for a while, right? That's what I mean by burnout. Go ahead, Everborn.
No. I was gonna say that the news cycle burnout is one thing, and the discourse burnout is a separate thing. But I think they are all related because I think
they feed each other.
I think the discourse has gone to shit because there's no noteworthy games to talk about, right? When you have these whether they're indie games that take the world by storm or big AAA games, the conversations tend to be around those. But when there's nothing out, then I just think it sours the discourse, and then you got crying and gloating and all this other stuff that is just not as fun to me as it used to be.
So before we round this out, I'm looking at this list, and I pose a question, and maybe you guys can help me answer this. Are there any next gen or current gen only games still slated for?
Hey, we should we don't forget about Arkham, right?
Shut your mouth.
Okay.
Arkham Knight is not a current gen only game.
It's
Arkham Knight. No, it's not.
Arkham Knight. Is it coming to the Xbox One and PS4? Yes or no? I ask you a yes or no question,
let me answer the question first.
I ask you a yes or no question,
make my statement.
sir.
I will mute
Let
you,
the jury be known. Let it be known, Your Honor, that the witness is failing to answer the question.
Objection here.
Arkham Knight was
a
cross-gen game right until they decided they wanted to take the cross-genness away from you. Doesn't make it all of a sudden next-gen only now, just because they decided to keep the disc in their house and not share it with you.
Your Honor, the witness isn't answering your question. I'd like to strike that from that testimony from the record.
I mean,
will you be able to buy Arkham Knight on the PS4?
And let's continue this tradition. Fuzzy
Yes
believes exactly.
No,
there you go. Dutch, what is your opinion? Do you consider?
I'm about to start calling you Mr. Hurd.
Nope.
Answer the question, sir.
Shut your mouth. Just because I object. What is your opinion, Dutch? Is this now officially next gen only because they decided to cancel the last gen version of it late in the production? What is your opinion?
It's classed now as next gen only. It's classed now, but it was never designed as such.
And to me, the class matters not compared to when you play the game. Like, for instance, we're playing. I showed you footage of Vampire Survivors, right? It's only on PC. Is this a game that's PC only?
I didn't forget.
Is this a game that's incapable of running anywhere else because it's only on PC? No. How it looks and how it plays is completely matters way more than what they decide to say about it, right? And they've decided to say that, hey, by the way, this game that we originally meant for these Jaguar cores Now we're just going to take it away because we can't get the 30 frames per second to sustain on it. That doesn't automatically make it a next gen game only. That just means you guys got tired of trying to optimize it and decided to just drop the ball on that. Doesn't mean that all of a sudden it's a good next gen only game. That's ridiculous.
Let the record show that the witness refuses to answer the question.
Slow-mo.
Get out of here with that. Hey, but I think we can all agree with that. Because it looks like better than any science-fiction game in the past.
Messy.
You slanderous individuals.
I was going to say, speaking of Burnout, though, as well, like it's an additional double whammy when you not only are trying to enjoy games or enjoy games in general, but then as a content creator, much like Randall Thor, much like Sante and Everborn, when you're covering topics week in, week out, as well as then trying to play games in the middle of that, and trying to have that you have to have that discourse because your show essentially relies on the discourse.
Yeah.
You get the burnout far more than those who don't. And sometimes, specifically like last week, I was completely burnt out, which is why I had no episodes on my front. There was nothing happening because I was just so physically and mentally tired from anything to the point where I was just lying on the couch and just watching TV. It wasn't even really watching TV. I was just burnt out, just mentally. And that goes for everything gaming wise. Including, look, when you're trying to scrounge around for topics and things, specifically when it's deathly quiet. And I was speaking to Asante before the show as well, and I said, like, we don't, like my show specifically, we don't get involved with some of the smaller news items, such as, like every little game's been delayed, or this little game's been delayed, or like we don't turn that into these huge topics to talk about giant discourse as a whole. We try to stick to the big stories, the ones that matter most to the gamers, as opposed to, and then drop in like, oh, by the way, unfortunately, Replaced, been delayed till next year. But then that's just like just to let you know it's been delayed. Next, whereas again, sometimes, specifically the last couple of months, we've been having to really stretch out these wafer thin topics to make something of it. And as a content creator, burnout's far quicker than a regular gamer. So I can understand Rand's point of view to the point where, and we know Rand, when he plays a game, he plays it till absolute completion.
He rips games to shreds, indeed.
Which is understandable for him, for his burnout, because not only is he talking about these games all the time, but he's consistently involved in the news. He's consistently getting news from other people. He's doing his podcasts every week. He's constantly playing games till absolute completion.
He's fielding calls from me at midnight for my conspiracy theories.
Exactly.
His conspiracy theories.
I'll just randomly call Rand and have like this whole hour-long conversation about what if this is this level of 4D chess. But
but it's in general, the discourse around it. It can be you can get burnout with it very quickly. And myself, I'm an ADD gamer. I can play for it. I might even be enjoying the game, but I can be playing a game for like an hour or two, and then I'll be like, "What next?" I'll be enjoying it, but I'll still be thinking about
and then you're done.
Something else, and then switch to something else. So at any one point, and specifically, I heard this months back when people were like, "Well, who really needs to have 4, 5, 6 games in a quick resume?" Me. 100% me. I am that person that needs that amount of games that are there, because I switch between games so often. And then I'll be online playing something by myself, and then a friend will pop up and Neil sends an invite to something entirely different. And I'll be like, okay, boop, straight onto that. I'll play that for a bit, and then back to this, and then back to this. And I'll be dodging in between games. And I am completely the type of person that will play a game for an hour or two, and if I'm not feeling it, I'll never play it again. But at least I try it. So, but I'm not.
Sounds like you should get PlayStation Plus Extra. Sorry, I apologize.
It's all
I was holding
messy,
on to that.
Messy man.
But yeah, it's the discourse thing. I am 100%. Like Everborn, you're gonna get worn out with the discourse with you, because I know you like to get into the source and you like to get messy.
Yes,
I try to stay out of it on the vast majority.
Oh, stop it, Dutch. Let me pull your card. You are the messiest individual out there, bro. You are first to, no matter what ridiculous comment I see, the first reply is Dutch like skewering.
Yes. Yeah, it'll be the ultimate rebuttal, of which there is no comeback. Yeah. No, but yeah, if I see something that is ultimately ridiculous, I'll just one single paragraph, boof, there's the answer. There is literally no other comeback from that, because that is a factual statement, and leave it at that, and then let it go. Of course, when we had the silly context around that Game Pass cancellation stuff the other day, I poked fun at that, poked the bear a bit, and obviously that took off significantly. But outside of that,
poked the bear? No, I don't think so.
A little bit. But outside of that, discourse, it can get like that sometimes. And the vast majority of the silly stuff that I see going on, I stay away from, because there's a lot of silly stuff all of the time.
See, though, I kind of think, and maybe I'm wrong here, and you guys are free to jump on me and tell me I'm wrong, but I kind of feel like the companies, the platform holders, have kind of spent a lot of time cultivating their fans, cultivating their ecosystems and their platforms, and especially specifically now with these subscription services saying, "Hey, give us your ducats and sit back, and we got you. We'll take care of you." Right? It gives, when that is successful to consumers, then it's more important that those same platform holders make sure they keep communicating with the consumer, because if you don't, eventually you get to this place where it's like, I've invested my money, I have your hardware, where are the games, where's this, where's that, and then World War III and all of this,
which is also
I'm not saying
stupid.
they're specifically responsible. I'm not saying they're specifically responsible, hell no, but I do think that a few more well-placed words and a few more well-placed items of, hey, like specifically on Xbox's side, a few more well-placed tweets by Phil Spencer going, "Oh, we got some exciting stuff to show you in June," or something like that, or Herman Hulse, same side. Hey,
but that's not going to do anything until they actually show it to you, and I think that's the problem, right? We've got some exciting stuff to show. They said that when they announced the June show, right?
Yeah.
Them saying it again is not gonna, make the games magically appear to you faster.
So you're saying that it's about the context, the content being shown off that's lacking, and because of that, that's what's causing all the consternation.
No, I'm saying the lack of content, not the lack of shown content. It's the lack of content in and of itself. But I do think part of the problem, again, with the discourse is that we hype ourselves up and we make our own narratives around these things, and then we fight in these opinion wars with people, and then we stand on squares, and then we end up looking bad, and then we are blaming all of these companies for those things. And I'm not saying if they promise something and they don't deliver, that's another thing. It is just I can't blame somebody for how hype I made myself get.
Sure.
Right? Sure. And then if that thing doesn't live up to the narrative that I set in my head, it's just like when people go into these movies and it's like, oh, they were supposed to do this, that in the movie. Did you actually look at the plot of the story they did tell? Or did you just go in there like you wanted to see this thing? And I feel like we hype ourselves up on these things, and it's part of the marketing cycle, and that it shows that works. But the anger that you see from some of this stuff, like, I'm not happy Starfield and Redfall are delayed. I was looking forward to those, but like the level of anger that you saw around it, to me, it was like, do you have anything else going on? Yeah. Whether it's games to play, books to read, or partners to have sex with, like what you cannot be that mad at this stuff. I'm sorry, you can't.
No, I've got to agree. And I think, and specifically because obviously sometimes people follow me. The vast majority of people that follow me on Twitter subscribe to my channel probably don't know that I run a channel, even though I've posted about it and posted about my shows and things like that.
They're there for slander.
Yeah, but they're there for whatever I've posted on Twitter. They're not necessarily involved in the fact that I'm a content creator. So when I post something, for instance, calling out Xbox for the fact that they got delayed, they don't see the fact that I'm not overly fussed that they are delayed. I'm glad they're delayed for the right reasons, which is polish and getting them up the readiness, etc. but they don't know the fact that I am not overly fussed because I'll be playing Avatar, I'll be playing Hogwarts, I'll be playing this, I'll be playing that. I have plenty of games I'm going to be playing. So overall, the grand scheme of things, it doesn't bother me. But you have to, like we have to as content creators, we'll call out the companies when they do something wrong and right. So when they see posts like when we post Xbox need to pull the fingers out because right as it stands right now, they have no games. We're talking specifically about Xbox as a company, not the third-party games, not the indies. We're talking specifically about Xbox's only offerings. And they don't see that. So then you get the slander underneath and they're like, oh, well, yeah, but there's loads of third-party games coming. I know I will be playing them. That's not what I'm talking about. And then you get the silly discourse that goes along with it. Like you can't have genuine discourse about something because people always think that you mean something else. They always
can't see beyond themselves, so they always assume that you're being as disingenuous as they might be.
They try to read between lines that don't exist.
That don't exist.
You could literally pancake between them and have zero space, and they'd still read between a line.
They still read between the lines. Yep. No, I do agree on that take for sure. I do agree because folks assume the worst of themselves and of others. So when you come to them with a genuine opinion, the first assumption is, nah, you must be meaning something else. I do understand. Welcome, John Wolf. We were actually talking about you not too long ago. Welcome, good sir. Welcome, good sir. Anyway, so I think we'll round the box.
Excellent taste in gaming IP.
There we go. There you go. The Sega twins unite. Anyway, I think we'll call it for this episode. I genuinely wanted to bring this conversation up because it seems like it's bringing forth a lot of negativity in the community. Oh, and this and that, and as you guys have expertly pointed out, I think they all feed each other. I think the discourse feeds the lack of information, which feeds the lack of content, and all of that is just gets people to spend more time looking at their list, saying my list is better than yours, when none of that really matters, right?
Yeah. So the one thing is that people always have the inclination to do, specifically on the Twitter streets, and of course we know Twitter's not a real place, but specifically on the Twitter streets or social media in general, is they will state a reply comment to your post as fact. They'll not ask questions. They'll not actually have discourse. They'll just say, I don't know why you're kicking off because this. I'm like, well, if you read it properly and ask me a question, you'd know I'm not kicking off.
Maybe you'd understand something. Yeah.
Yeah.
You'd understand. Of course.
If you have that discourse, but people don't like actual discourse. They want to know that their comment is fact and nothing more. They don't like the discourse that comes off it, so they never ask a question. They just they just put a statement on there and hope for the best, and then let it go on from there. Or sometimes you'll see like 3-4 replies of a statement and no questions to what you've posted. So there is no discourse. It's just I'm going to say something. I don't want to hear your response.
Yep. Interesting. Yeah. You know, and I'm just hoping. And again, this is not me saying that it's the responsibility of platform holders just to circumvent that. But the more they are forthcoming and the more they are part of the community and part of the conversation, the less that stuff gets to fester. You know, this whole Xbox Bethesda delay stuff and the way they dropped it and the lack of information and all of that kind of left room for a lot of infighting to start like taking place, you know, and that's just unfortunate, but by and large. But that's not something
my only comment on the Xbox thing around that at the end of the day was, and it was a simplified comment. If the Activision Bethesda, the Acti Blizzard deal was not in the works at all, Microsoft would have nothing for the year anyway.
Yeah.
0. So then you have to look
you're right. You're right. Well, okay. There is a world where you can argue that in that world, right, maybe they would have pushed their other 30 some odd teams to have something for this year. And since they knew that Starfield was coming supposedly this year, they let the others, you know, continue working rather than getting a half-assed product out sooner, right? Which is what you want. Right, that's what you want them to do, right? To give them time for it to breathe. But that's why I always come back to we're gonna have a conversation with the booty if June comes around and there's nothing to fill in those gaps.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying?
And I've said that is my final point on it was with June now has a bigger emphasis on it than it did before these delays.
Yep.
Now the emphasis is really on them to knock it out of the park. To right, what is coming the remainder of this year, and what have you got in store for next year? Now we know we've got Redfall and Starfield. We know they're in the bag. We now know we've got Jedi Fallen Order Survivor.
Do we know if we have Deathloop? Because Everborn kept saying that we don't know, and I'm just like, come on. But now I'm like, we still don't know. Where's the release date? You know,
wait, what game? Oh, I don't know if you're getting Deathloop this year. I'm sorry.
But what, like, would that not be absolutely ridiculous if it, I mean, contractual obligations aside, right? Maybe there is.
But that's all there is. All there is the contract, and we don't know it. And they have not owned that baby. They are not paying child support on it.
So are you saying
they have not acknowledged this
the contract
child
is longer than
I think we don't know, and until we hear something, do not assume it's coming out.
Don't assume it. Yeah.
You know what happens when you assume.
You
right?
see, this is the jaded world Final we all Fantasy live in now, right?
Was coming in a year. Don't tell me, well, that's Square, that's whatever. It's the contract. The contract is the contract. You don't know what kind of shrewd business moves Sony is doing with their contracts. There was talk this week about whether, COD might be stuck on PlayStation till 2026, and you might not even be able to put the back catalog in there. Who knows?
But that's all back and forth. Like no one of note, of real note, has confirmed that. That's all back and forth. Right?
Why is that though? Why has no one confirmed it?
Because that
because
works.
Nobody knows, right?
No, but that also, for those who do know, it works in their favor to keep you guessing, right? You've said that yourself, right? So those who know won't say anything, and those who don't, who are either on one side or another.
But those who know aren't saying anything about Deathloop.
But you've got to think about this as well. Come the purchase and completion of the purchase of ActiBliz, are Sony going to want the marketing rights for a game that's going to have Xbox Game Studios?
That is Everborn Saga's argument. That has been his own argument.
That's my question.
Yeah. Why would they want to market an Xbox
seem to
game
think,
now?
yes, they want it because they paid for it, and they will use it to their advantage until they can get these 38 service games out that they're working on. So hopefully by the time 2025, 2026 comes around, at least one of their IPs will kick off to generate that kind of revenue. Now, I have two questions on that front. Well, Sony has talked a lot about service games, and they talked a lot about multi-plat. And I know they're talking about PC and mobile. But if they are doing service games, any chance any of those service games besides Destiny are that they get the MLB treatment because they want those players in there?
Meaning making them multi-platform?
Full multi-plat.
I mean, Sony has come out and literally said that, right? And people have always attributed presumptions to what they're saying. They just say multi-platform, but then people go, "Oh, you mean PlayStation and PC?" They didn't say that. They just said multi-platform. So
that's what Jim is saying today. But I wonder if they're looking for players and microtransactions.
Yeah,
is that the route they go?
Because think about it, right? They don't know. We will never know how they feel about Game Pass, but they do because they're making MLB The Show money on Game Pass.
Yeah,
right. They don't have that anywhere else, but by the nature of MLB being what they are, they forced them into it, and now Sony's literally making MLB The Show money.
But they have that as a data point, and they can see how successful that is.
Exactly
maybe not, depending on how successful it is.
Exactly my point. Because people think
to other things.
Because people think that they're doing it because they're in their fields. No. It's where the dollars and cents are, and whether you like it or not. If all of a sudden Jim Ryan wakes up tomorrow morning and the graph has shot up like a freaking like to the sky because of Game Pass being added to it, you're damn right you're going to see some other stuff jump into Game Pass. Now they'll thread the needle a bit more carefully because they don't want to offend the Warriors, because they know that those Warriors are part and parcel of their loyal fan base. But if you will see more games in Game Pass by Sony if the dollars and cents make it.
Yep.
Now
you will.
Now here's the thing. And we'll see what they do, right? But because they're so gung-ho on these service games, are they going to try to turn their upcoming, what we traditionally think of as single-player games, into microtransaction-laden?
I don't see that in the short term, but as the games mature, like I can see a world where an Uncharted game will have a gas component, not like immediately, but as that world is maturing and they're getting used to it and they're getting better at it, and that the Destiny 2 purchase is paying dividends. I can see, because they know that single player narrative games is what brought you to the yard. But they also know that the gas game is what's keeping even their third place competitor making more money than them sometimes. So they kind of have to do both. So I can see a world where your next Uncharted, whatever it be, whatever your single player amazing narrative game is, take the what do you call it, Ghost of Tsushima. I can see the next version of their multiplayer going all the way into gas games while still keeping the single player on lock. That's a world I can see.
Now back to the other point about Activision and Blizzard. This is the second question. Is there a world where COD doesn't go into Game Pass?
Yeah,
you mean day one?
Day one, yeah.
Not in the future, but right now.
Right now, I don't see that. Yeah, people are automatically assuming that the next COD that's just been released is coming into Game Pass.
No, but I'm saying even post the deal closing. Forget about right now. Post the deal closing.
You do realize Phil has literally spoken, like literally put in ink. As soon as the deal closes, you'll see COD
all
and back
the
catalogs.
Games that we can. He didn't say COD back catalog. He said all the games that we can. You can go back to the quote. So
no. Okay, so what you're saying is because he said that, he can be washy about it a bit.
Everything pre-Vanguard will go into Game Pass. I think everything post-Vanguard, it's a different story, because pre-Vanguard, you've got a lot of players on there. Warzone anyway is going to stay multi-plat. I've said this before and I'll say that again.
That's without a doubt. Yeah.
But pre-Vanguard,
so what do you think? Where do you think the line is drawn? Like pre-Vanguard and post-Vanguard, I get that, but I guess to you, like what I want to know is to you, what's the difference between the pre and post that defines their location?
Well, Dutch, before you answer that, right? But Dutch, before you answer that question, I wonder if we know they did this with Resident Evil. We don't know when they re-upped the latest marketing deal. I wonder if, and again, Sony may be able to tell Capcom they can't put their games in the service, but Capcom is not Activision, and you don't have the same kind of bargaining chips with Activision that you have with Capcom. So I do understand that. But I wonder if until we get to 2026, you're not going to get day and date Call of Duty
because of the various contractual obligations that exist.
And also, listen, it took them a while to put Minecraft into Game Pass.
Well, but Minecraft is a different beast. Everybody talks Minecraft. Like Mojang is a red herring for Microsoft.
I understand.
They literally own them in name alone.
Brad Smith said they want to treat them like Minecraft. So I could see a world where hang on a second.
Hear you on that, Brad Smith.
Hear me out.
Go ahead.
I could see a world where when Modern Warfare 2, let's say the deal was done now, right? Just because I have the name, so it's easy to explain this. If the deal was done today, Vanguard is not in Game Pass until Modern Warfare comes out. And when the Treyarch game comes out, that's when Modern Warfare 2 will go into Game Pass. And they're going to sell those games to people because it's such a large revenue stream.
See, although I don't disagree with anything you're saying there, my pushback to that is first the Brad Smith statement about treating it like Minecraft. You can call that. You can.
I know.
You can slice that any way you want. It could be a platform.
Don't listen to anything a guy says before he gets to draws.
Exactly. So anything he's saying, like, to me, that's. And secondly, on the point of because they make too much revenue, people have been making that statement forever. Oh, they're not going to make this multi-plat because it makes too much money.
One thing you can be guaranteed for on Xbox is that next gen tax is gone. No more next gen tax for Call of Duty for as soon as that deal's done.
I think it should still be 70 on PlayStation and 60 on Xbox.
Yeah.
But one other thing, though,
keep it salty.
They're happy to pay it. Why not? They shouldn't complain.
Pay them.
But I guess so. Here's the other question. Maybe I'm wrong, and maybe it does go full day and date. But is there a world where they cannot do that until this marketing contract is done?
I mean, if PlayStation
and then I have a follow-up question.
If PlayStation put that in the contract, which they'd be smart to do so, because that's how you don't get that MLB The Show look, right? But you have to make sure from jump that it's spelled out so that people know. If you don't spell that out from jump, then they reserve every right to do do that. If that is in the contract, maybe we don't see it.
But
you think that cannot be spelled out, and somehow they'll still not do that?
PlayStation have the chops to tell Activision what to do?
No,
like you can't put your game on the service.
Lose too much money.
Yeah,
right. So I don't think it was. I don't think there's a world. I would totally not be surprised if that's not in writing, because they could tell Capcom that for Resident Evil, but you can't tell Activision, the number one selling game. You're not going to dictate those kind of terms.
But you know what, though, and this is me just speculating, so I could be absolutely wrong. And Dutch and Everborn, tell me I'm wrong. But I would think that the MLB The Show thing, being a latest occurrence, has changed the way they write contracts because of it. And before then, they never thought that could be a factor in the equation. Meaning, they never thought that they could, I don't know, talk to Disney and have Disney force a PlayStation only game on Xbox because Disney has a better stake on it than PlayStation does. That's what they did with MLB, right? If Sony was given if it was left to Sony's decision, that would have never ever. But because the license is tied to a different platform, and they have more clout and more capability of telling you what to do, you had no choice but to work with them. You're making your money off of it, but you have to work with them because they say our IP goes here. They could technically do the same with Disney. They could. I mean, obviously the dollars and cents would be massive, but still.
Here's my final question for the day. So it is a co-marketing deal, correct? Mm-hmm. Now, what does co-marketing means? It means PlayStation can market it, and Activision can market it, right?
And who is Activision in less than 6 months?
Right. So does that mean Activision, who is now a subsidiary of Microsoft, can say, "Hey, I'm advertising it for myself, but I'm Microsoft, so I'm going to advertise it on Xbox, maybe in Game Pass." And do they allow that? And these are the reasons why maybe that contract either needs negotiation, or maybe it's ironclad and they can't do anything, or maybe Sony doesn't want it anymore. Because
what you're describing is exactly what is really interesting. But and again, I'm open to be wrong. Clip it and show it to me again later. But if Sony had a Sony-like competitor, that'd be a factor. I think Phil and you, Everborn, have even said that they are willing to take the short-term L's because they have resources for the long-term gain. I don't think they played the same shrewd game that PlayStation does. Because if they had a competitor that was as shrewd as them, what you're describing, 100%, they'd be the same guys who would then undercut the marketing deal and go, well, we don't own Activision just yet. We just outbid you, bam, because they know they're getting their money back in like 6 months. They could do all of those crazy shady moves. Not shady like officially, but it's questionable.
But here's the thing.
It's questionable. But you know what I'm saying? Like they could do that, but they don't.
I am a letter of the law man. Apparently, with this Gotham Knights thing, you guys are spirit of the law people. But
no,
letter of the law,
it's not letter or spirit for me. To me, the Gotham
literally
Knights
just
thing
pointed to your heart.
It's technical. It's technical.
Okay.
Because technically, it's still earmarked for the old, not the new. Even though you took the old out of the equation later, you still built it for the old.
You can only buy it on next gen.
You still built it for the
Again,
old, not
that's
the new.
spirit of the law, sir. If we got any lawyers in the chat, that is spirit of the law.
We will end this show the way we started it, as slanderous as possible. Thank you very much. But you know what? This has been a fantastic conversation. We start these episodes going, let's have a light conversation and see where it goes. And it always ends up going in the most outlandish, most craziest places. And I'm here for it. I really love it. I love always the chat staying lively, taking us in directions we're not expecting. Of course, Mr. Everborn Saga, even when he is not at 100%, the slanderous levels are always high, and I appreciate you, good sir. But Wandering Dutch, thank you so much for joining us. You know, you are not a guest here, man. You created the door that we open. You do all this great work for us and the community. The Mix Up Collective is really taking names and doing great things. Please tell the people where they can find you. Keep up with your stuff. What else you got going on coming up soon?
Yes. So naturally, around showcase time, we have a lot of shows going on. So showcase period, we have 9 shows, or at least 9 streams in 11 days.
In 11 days?
Yeah.
Y'all sleep and eat?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. So we every Tuesday we have our Sea of Thieves stream now, which is awesome. Just started that back up about 7 weeks ago now, and we do it every Tuesday, same time, same group. Get 2 ships worth of people on there, have some fun, have some laughs. Obviously play through the game. Wednesdays we have our midweek mix-up podcast as usual, the main show. Thursdays are nothing, Fridays are nothing currently. And Sundays we have our weekend edition of the podcast. Of course, every Wednesday after my podcast, you can find me on Primetime Gaming with Asante and Everborn, where we discuss the weekly news as well. But yes, there's a lot coming up, a lot around showcase season, and I announced on my show last week, and then on Primetime that the indie showcase for next year will be 2 shows, not 1. So you'll have 1 at the beginning of the year, April time, and 1 around about September time. So you'll have 2 indie showcases next year, which is going to be awesome. A lot of work, of course.
And this year's show is awesome, man. I've seen it twice now. So much stuff. I had to put stuff on the list. It's really good, man. You did a great job.
Yeah. It was, and it's surpassed 10,000 views now, so it's by far the largest streamed content we've had. So it's been awesome, and I'm looking forward to improving on that. As always, it's always great to get into the slanderous territory with you guys. So I appreciate it. And of course, as always, if you ever needing any additional or newer updated intros, outros, or whatever you want, let us know. And I'll be sure to help out.
I appreciate it, good sir. Always great to have you here. As y'all know, this man is not he is part of this show, right? And even when you're not here, you loom large, and we appreciate you being here and lending your voice and your opinions to us from time to time. Again, as we're heading towards that 1,000 subscribers, I've been talking to the Dutch man here. I want to do something special. I want to give away something, pretty substantial. Something custom, something that you will not be able to buy anywhere else. So please stick with us and continue the support. We appreciate that. But Mr. Everborn Saga, I know you're not on your game this weekend as you usually are. Will we see you in the X class, or what's going on?
I gotta call university and work that out with him. Okay. I don't know. I feel terrible.
Yeah,
We'll see. I'm gonna give him a call after that. But go check out University's channel either way. Whether I'm there or not, he's gonna do the show, I think. And Everborn Saga everywhere. And I don't know how me and Slow-Mo live in different states, and I've never met the man in person, but I feel like he got me sick. So F you, Slow-Mo.
Wow.
I don't know what's going on.
That's fantastic.
So you guys enjoy the rest of your weekend, and I'll try to get back into gaming. But today I'm watching Stranger Things.
Oh yeah, me too.
Star Wars, and I'm going to rent or probably buy that Viking movie, Northman.
Yeah. Come on now. I need someone to put it on the list. Everything, Everywhere, All at Once. Watch the movie.
I didn't see it available to buy. If it is, I will.
It is out there. Go seek it out. It is fantastic. I said it before, and I'll say it again.
How'd you watch it?
It is the Wachowskis at their prime.
How'd you watch it, K-Sante?
In the movie theater.
Oh, you watched it in the movie
Wachowskis in their prime. Like, seek it out wherever you can. Watch that movie, and don't let anyone tell you about it. Where you find like anything. Just go watch it. It's very, very good.
And if I wasn't feeling like this, I'd be going to see Top Gun today because I really
I think I need to go see that too. I think I need to go see Top Gun.
That's had some big numbers done in its opening weekend as well. Yeah,
I'm really like Top Gun. I don't know. Should I wait to see that on digital or should I go like? I mean, like something like Doctor Strange was definitely IMAX worthy for me. You know, I didn't think Top Gun was going to hit the numbers it did, so now it's kind of making me think I might go see it. But I don't know. I haven't decided whether I'll wait to see it on digital or if I'll go into the theaters for that.
Oh boy, there's some wind going on out here. I need to take down my umbrella on the deck.
Oh boy. Okay.
It's getting pretty crazy out there.
Go take care of some business. But you know what? We're on to the bottom of this show. We thank each and every one of you guys that continue to pull up every single weekend. You know, you start your weekend with us, and we appreciate you. You know, we try to keep it 2.5, maybe 3 hours sometimes. If you want a bit more, you can always check out our brethren from the Midweek Mix-Up Collective. I'm sure Living Split Screen is still going hot and heavy right now. And tell Pong
they'll be on for the next 4 hours.
That's right. Tell Pong and Steel that we sent you, and give them shout outs for us as well. But yes, thank you guys so much for checking us out. For the audio listeners, the viewership is still growing exponentially, even though I really do like, I'm lazy in the marketing in that department, but still people are watching it and listening to it there. And I really appreciate you guys. We always get great comments whenever these videos post, you know, some criticism, some recommendations, this and that. I love all of that. I read all of it. I reply back to a bunch of them. So you can always, like, you know, if you left a message and you haven't checked it, go check it. I probably replied back, even if it was just to thank you so much for checking us out. But I really, really do appreciate it. And we'll see you guys next week. And of course, I will go out with that awesome intro that the Wandering Dutch has provided us. We will see you folks next week. Have a good one.